Yeah, I'm curious to see how this one's going to play out because, you know, Cloud9 I feel like are the old faithful in this matchup, but Nova are definitely kind of this new upstart, this new kind of usurper almost that is going to be looking to dethrone Cloud9. Now let's talk about Nova Esports first. These are going to be the guys that I feel like have a lot of pressure on their shoulders to prove themselves here. This is their opportunity to build a legacy, to create themselves a history here at the Vainglory Unified Championship.
Yeah, they definitely will. And from a mechanic standpoint, I would say Truth and Old School are pretty even. But I think Cloud9 wins in the jungle with Joseph and Gabe against Starboy and Delphi. However, I think one advantage that Nova does have on their side is they have Belligerent, who might be able to come out with some interesting drafts. They did try Weapon Pedal, they did a lane Lyra, and these are things that could throw Cloud9 off. And if Nova execute these compositions, it could work.
Yeah, and that's something D'Enzio was saying in his interview as well. So long as they play meta, as long as they play standard, they're in with a really good chance in this series. But they are going up against the reigning champions. It's Cloud9, and this is a team that, when you think of this team, you think of sheer mechanical skill, you think of perfected gameplay.
Yeah, they are so clean, so crisp with their decision-making. As Sweetjay likes to say, you make one mistake, and they will punish you for it 10 times over. That is how they play this game. That is how they focus their gameplay, is just forcing you to make mistakes and then taking advantage of those mistakes. And they have an opportunity now to try and make history by becoming the first North American team to win back-to-back live events.
I'm pretty sure the first team in the world to win back-to-back unified championships as well.
Second unified championship, so.
That is very true. But what I mean is there haven't been any repeat winners in the other regions either. So a lot of pride on the line. Let's remember that these guys are the highest seed, and these guys have a reputation to uphold. If Nova can come in and upset, there's going to be a bit of a chunk out of the pride coming in from Cloud9. We'll see how this one's going to play out. I want to talk a little bit about playstyles. What do you expect to see when we get into game from these guys, Sweetjay? What are they like pocket picks that you anticipate seeing?
Well, I think Nova's gonna like the Baptiste. Cloud9 also likes the Baptiste with like a glaive, so I think those two picks will be highly contested. Adagio is something very strong on Old School, and Truth on Kestrel is something to lock off for, and they both play Celeste really well. So it's going to come down to, like I said, every game is which laner is going to get ahead. When Truth gets ahead on CS or when Old School gets ahead, they just hyper carry so hard and just dominate. So that will be the key, and that then reflects onto jungle now. And that's where I think Cloud9 will dominate, is Joseph and Gabe are just one of the strongest jungle duos right now. It's going to be really tough for Delphi and Starboy to match that.
Here we go. The draft is underway for our second semi-final here in Los Angeles. It's Cloud9 going up against Nova Esports, and the first ban of this series is going to be Kestrel.
And Kestrel taking off the board, followed by a Vox, a little bit different than what we saw from our first semi-final, as that was primarily the Grace Catherine, obviously Scarf being focused in those bans, so a little bit more targeted towards these two carries and what they like to play the most.
Pretty dangerous to give Cloud9 that Grace, and Kestrel is such a smart ban against Truth. But it's interesting that they banned Vox, which kind of isn't the strongest in the meta right now. Yeah. With Lance being picked up in Pedal, they want to force a crew ban, looks like, I think.
Yeah, the Vox may not be the strongest in the meta overall, but it is still far and above Joseph's, or Old School, sorry, most played hero across the season we talked about the other day. But it's going to be this Lance Glaive, again, massive amounts of lockdown that is going to be coming out from the Nova side.
Absolutely, Glaive is going to be the lock-in here alongside that Lance, and now Cloud9 have a double pick on their side. We'll see where they choose to go with this one. Obviously, Grace, very versatile.
Yeah, if they go like Rhyme, Glaive Lance is over. Their days are numbered if they do a Rhyme here. However, I think Idris will still look good unless they want to do a Celeste with like Blackfeather, or Adagio Blackfeather will be really solid as well. So I could see Cloud9 going for an Adagio Blackfeather composition. So whatever Truth is on, Joseph and Old School and Gabe are just going to dive onto him and ignore the Glaive and get past the Glaive and the Lance.
is going to be the Black Feather locked on in. Adagio still wide open if they do want to follow that one up as well. And Black Feather has definitely had a resurgence here today. We didn't see him as much yesterday, but certainly seems to be picking up in popularity. Once again, a double heal composition locked on in.
They're going to pick Celeste here. I think Celeste will be picked up, and that's going to be really risky because Black Feather is so good. With the Grace that can give him a Divine Intervention, Celeste or Glaive will not be able to kill him fast enough. And then you have to worry about Adagio on top of that. Oh, they're going with Idris actually, CP Idris instead. So very smart play by Nova here.
Now, we've seen a double heal composition in the semifinals already. It was against a Glaive and there was no Poison Shift built. Are we going to see that coming out from Nova? Is that the key to beating a composition like this?
You need a Poison Shift. You need some way to apply Mortal Wound against a double heal composition. Otherwise, they will be able to out-sustain you all game long.
You can see the Nova fans out in force, ready to take on Cloud9. It's just about time to get on into our second semi-final. Suijay, thoughts on this matchup? How's it going to go very quickly?
Oh my god, Grace on Cloud9 is too good. I think they're going to take it.
All right, we'll see how this one's going to pan out. It's time to get over to our casters. It's time to begin the second semi-final of the day. It's Cloud9 against Nova Esports.
Thank you very much, Joe. We are here, Jaws and Action Jackson, ready to take you through this best of 5. Nova, the rising stars, going up against Cloud9, the once undisputed champions.
Yep, the reigning champions from the last Unified Live Championship. These guys are monsters across both teams. We have a lot of very mechanical players, and I would say, especially in the case of C9, but on Nova as well, some very cerebral ones as well. We're onto the fold.
Oh boy, here we go. We can hear the crowd already. We saw the big Nova flag, and we see a lot of Cloud9 jerseys as well. This composition looks pretty scary from Cloud9. Like Suijay said, that Grace on Gabe Fizzle already taking a mean chunk out of Starboy.
Yeah, C9 being very aggressive with a 3-man invade already. They're going to be taking away the forward Treant as a result. Truth, I don't know if he's going to be able to get anything in response. Probably not. This is a very strong rotation from Cloud9 that also lands themselves the middle Treant, the elder Treant. They're in a good spot. Truth is going to be trying to steal away a Treant in response, though. C9 probably know what's up based off of their rotation into lane, so Joseph might be able to look for Truth here. Truth smartly backing away.
Oh yeah, it's going to sink into the ground and get back to base. But Cloud9, like you said, reigning champions, that's going to kind of put a bit of a cloud over Nova coming up against these guys. And you've got to think to yourselves, are they going to be a little bit nervous coming into this?
I have to admit, I was actually sitting with Nova right before this series began.
Oh, hang on a second. Gabe Fizzle, he's going to reposition himself. Ooh. Or sorry, Lone Delphi's going to reposition him. That was a very close impale by Starboy. Truth not really there for the damage either. Early game in, just not so strong.
Yeah, I mean, had that Lance Impale landed on either Old School or Gabe Fizzle, maybe that fight keeps going for sure. We've talked about it time and time again. Landing those early Lance Impales is extremely important. But to your previous point, I was actually sitting with Nova, and they seemed pretty calm and collected, to be honest. You know, they weren't really stressed too much. This is a team that does not yet know exactly how bitter it can be when you lose in a championship. I mean, you got to remember, every win these guys pick up is their first time getting to this stage of a tournament, and every time they lose, well, they haven't yet. So they're in a good spot mentally.
Yeah, it's the furthest they've ever gotten, and you got to say, for a team coming into the Unified Championships and coming to the semi-finals against someone like Cloud9, this historical team with such big names on it, that's just such a wonder to look at. Old School, though, is coming in. He's got a little bit of fire on Truth. He's going to have to back off. It's a very hard daily phase, but Old School a little bit too far forward. Into the turret, Githian wall from Starboy. First blood to Lone Delphi.
Very nice stuff. Nova, the Rising Stars, as you said, take first blood against the reigning champions, Cloud9. It's very impressive. I have to admit, great rotation out of Starboy there to make that one happen with Lone Delphi. They're spending a lot of time in the lane. They're trying to abuse the fact that Old School does not have a good amount of mobility on his kit. Obviously, Gabe Fizzle is not going to be able to do much sustain pre-level 6. The big thing that Gabe is offering is crowd control and damage reduction until that point. But it's not quite enough this early on, especially against Lone Delphi, who's picked up a couple of weapon blades. He's going to be doing a lot of damage whenever he jumps in. We should start talking about the compositions as well, because as was mentioned on the analyst desk, we've seen a Glaive into the double heal composition before. It did not build Poison Shiv. I have to echo their sentiment. I think it's very important that a Poison Shiv is picked up this game for Nova. They need to be able to eat through all the healing. Double heal has actually been quite a popular lineup that we've seen, and a very successful one this tournament. It's something that, at least for the 2.7 meta, seems pretty darn effective. And when you're backing up someone like a Black Feather with double healed, I mean, this is something we used to see with Lyra Adagio. It really does allow that Black Feather to play a little looser, get a bit more basic attacks in.
Well,
do some good
benediction
damage.
in by Scythian War onto Gay Vizzle, but they're not done just yet. Starboy going very low. Old School's going to chase him up. Impale to get a bit of distance. He ends up going down. Truth in trouble as well. But he's going to walk away alive for the moment. Lone Delphi coming up to the lane, but that will be a kill going over to Cloud9.
Very, very nice rotation. They don't know that Delphi's here, though. Maybe he can make something happen.
Taking a lot of damage. Old School focusing the right target. Boots out. Lone Delphi now in the fray. However, Old School can't really find that last auto attack to kill him, but Cloud9 taking advantage of that lane.
Old School starting to do some serious damage early on here, especially if he lands the burn onto these targets from Nova. It is going to be very difficult for them to deal with, and you can see using the minion wave actually as a source for getting that down. Cloud9, in response to that early rotation and kill that Nova got, have been playing much more solidly up in the lane. There's been much less of a focus for them down in the jungle, and I think that's a very smart response. When you're against a Lance and a Glaive, you know that you are vulnerable in the lane, especially with low mobility, because both of those heroes have gap closers and crowd control that can really put you out of position rather than just lock you down if you are already out of position.
Yeah, 3 members from Nova really dangerous if Old School gets anywhere near them. However, they're not going to hit his power spikes too quickly. That's something we've got to kind of keep in mind. Truth building up towards this CP Idris route as Lone Delphi has picked up that tension bow. He's coming towards the lane. That's a lot of burst damage, but like you said, it can be quite hard if you haven't got that poison chip to deduct a lot of that healing that Cloud9 are going to offer, especially Joseph too, as in level 6. Starboy in a lot of trouble. He's in a 1v3. He doesn't have boost. Nice Scythian ball. Here comes Lone Delphi. He does reposition Joseph, but Starboy's still going down. He's burning alive. Impale over the wall. Gay Vizzle, can he find him? He can. The burn doesn't finish him, but Gay Vizzle does. Nova, they eke another kill, but Cloud9 2 on the board.
I appreciate wanting to save your fountain for perhaps a skirmish, but when you die because you didn't use it when you've already got one, that is not the best situation to be in. Starboy unable to make that happen, and now as a result, the laner and jungler from Nova had to back away. Lots of pressure onto this turret. Thankfully, Nova do have just enough in the tank to defend this one. Cloud9 are definitely setting the pace for this game, though. It doesn't really translate into the gold advantage. In fact, Nova has that, but that's because they're actually dividing their attention and spending more of their time away from each other, unlike what we saw in the first minute or two of the game. And this is, allowing Cloud9, they're sort of trading off gold advantage, trading off experience perhaps on their jungler to make things happen on the map that they can then translate into a bigger gold lead later on.
We're only 6 minutes in, and Nova, they are inching ahead on gold. Only about 400, so quite surprising considering the kills right now. Nova, what do they do? What do they do and execute right now? Truth does have Shatterglass. They need to be able to find an opening here, but Old School and Gay Vizzle, their wave pushing potential is all too strong. Lone Delphi coming forward, actually going to jump on Truth. Here's Lone Delphi on the side. Afterburn not used just yet. Doesn't want to go for the engage, however Starboy does. Only Nova does end up missing, and in fact, they are just going to disengage from Cloud9.
So right before that fight, Joseph actually picked himself up a Sorrow Blade. So he is a very scary threat right now to Nova. C9 knows that they want to set something up again.
Benediction is in. Lone Delphi going really low. There's the Rose defensive. Truth comes forward. Lone Delphi does get alive with the afterburn, but Starboy now in the front line. All of Nova's Alphars are brinking Joseph very close to going underneath that turret, but it's all good. Truth ends up escaping alive as well. But those chakrams, they are starting to mount up now.
Yeah, smart play by Truth to jump over the wall into his teammate with the ultimate to get out of that sticky situation. C9, they do not have a fountain, so they got to be careful if they extend too far onto the turret, but neither does Nova. There is a lot of damage across all members in this 3v3. Anyone who makes a misstep could be very punished. Look, Old School,
speaking of Starboy, Lone Delphi does get the reposition with the Rose defensive in. Benediction as well. Gay Vizzle starting against the wall. Nice Impale. He's going to get blocked, but it doesn't matter. He picks up a kill anyway. Starboy activates the reflex. Blocks the shield. He's alive. Truth finds the kill. Sends the emote up as well, and Nova secure 2.
Man, that could have gone either way, to be honest, right at the end there. But both teams playing with fire. Oftentimes, we're going to see this in game 1 of a series. Truth, he spots out Old School.
Oh, Chakram doing a lot. He has got a lot of damage, but Crystal Sentry's there for the backup. Remember, the 2v1 isn't always as good when you're half HP.
Yeah, Truth doesn't have any way of slowing up Old School either, which makes it kind of hard to chase in without boots there. So Old School is going to be getting away. Again, returning to what we've seen so far, I think we've seen a lot of, both teams trying to be very pace-setting. They're trying to be decisive and make plays happen. And in game 1 of a series like this, it's a great way of getting under the skin of your opponents a little bit. You want to be the ones really initiating the fights, really showing no fear in order to make your opponents respect the plays and the bluffs maybe that you make later on in the series. We might have another fight here.
Nova have to rotate towards the lane now. Turret's going very well. Get him all into two. Low Delphi's on the back line. Old School in a lot of trouble, but the massive heal comes out from Gabe Fizzle. They are just rotating back now, trying to save Old School. He's still alive somehow. Fountain comes out to save him. Now the target is Low Delphi, but Joseph's going to fall. Low Delphi finds it, but he is burning, but he does manage to survive and get out of there. They do end up losing a turret, but they trade it for one.
This is a very close series of fights we're seeing here. Both teams have players escaping on almost no life at times. Once Delphi picks up Poison Shiv, I do think that this is going to turn much more favorably for Nova, at least in the short term. The
Benediction. That Impale actually missed. Old School going very low. Truth finds the kill. Starboy running away. Gabe Fizzle ends up chasing him off. They trade 1 for 1, but that will result in Cloud9 keeping that turret.
Yeah, that's definitely, I think, probably quite a good trade for Cloud9. They would have otherwise been experiencing a lot of turret pressure there. It would have forced Joseph maybe to run directly to lane from base rather than to jungle to farm. So it is keeping them in the gold race with Nova, and that's very important at this point for the reason I was about to talk about before. Blackfeather's weapon power this game, you need a couple of items, maybe even a few items, to be super effective. You need probably 2 offensive, and then you maybe need like an Atlas Pauldron or something defensive to deal with the carries from Nova when you jump in. So the fact that Cloud9 is playing this at the pace they are is a little risky. You know, if Nova manages to turn and take a turret here and equalize objectives on the map, it's going to look really good for them in the mid game.
Okay, Vizzle is going in time and time again. Every single time Benediction's off cooldown, you best believe he's going in. Now Nova, they have lost a turret here, so their vision line isn't going to be all too great. However, Joseph goes in the backline and maybe a little bit too aggressive, but the heal's going to come through from Gabe Fizzle. Starboy going very low, gets jumped on once again. Old School pounding out that damage in the backline. Low Delphi now in the front of it all. Truth in the back, just can't do anything, cannot touch Gabe Fizzle and Joseph.
Nova are not at the point where they can fight like that. They certainly can fight, but it's important that Delphi is just doing damage, and he was mostly trying to buy space for Truth in that exchange. Truth only has a Shadowglass AC. I think he needs a Broken Myth to really hit the power spike. That being said, he is keeping Cloud9 off the gold line for now. He might go for this.
He might. Chakram goes in, Benediction onto Truth, but no, Cloud9 do end up securing it. Old School chasing him down though. Look at the damage! Alternating current Shadowglass. Low Delphi does find the kill on him, but in the end, Cloud9, they may trade 1 for 1, but they still get the gold miner.
I mean, it's a 2 for 1 trade. Very bad news for Nova, especially when you're losing the gold mine too. This has swung the gold back in favor of Cloud9, and when they've already got pressure on the map, that's exactly the situation you don't want to be in. Joseph is getting a lot of time to scale up here, and the double heal composition is fragile, but only at certain points in the game. Right now, with a Poison Shiv being picked up for Delphi, this is a big window of opportunity and a big power spike, so long as Truth can hit Broken Myth soon. And he is, you know, moderately on his way, needs about half the money, probably, of that complete item still to go. So if Truth wants to maybe make a fight happen for Nova, he needs to just hyper farm the next couple of minutes. I don't think Delphi should take camps, actually. I think they should just give them to Truth, try and hit that power spike so they can really abuse the mid game that maybe the heal comp is going to struggle with.
Starboy has been spotted. Joseph's going to go in. Truth on the backline's already half HP. Has to use the boots to get away. Those chat rooms doing a fair bit of damage. But Cloud9 still unrelenting in their pushes. Echo, by the way, has been finished by Gabe Fizzle, so he has 2 divine interventions to use. So right now, we're 12 minutes in. Cloud9, they've hit some massive power spikes. You've got to be kind of scared for Nova, but the question is, how do they respond?
You know, your point earlier about the Echo really is pretty impressive, actually. 12 minutes and you've got Crucible, Echo, and Fountain. Gabe Fizzle was doing a great job of utilizing ambient gold this game. He's really been in the right place at the right time pretty much the entire time. And as a result, having 2 divine interventions is, I mean, that's pretty tough for Nova to deal with. They don't have a lot of burst damage. If they get someone low, it's all down to Delphi to dive in and maybe get a crit or something, but he doesn't have crit items yet. It's pretty tough. I don't know, I think Nova, they're going to need to play either a very, very long fight where they position very, very well, or they're going to have to get another item, try and poke, and then hard commit and kill someone very quickly.
Well, speaking about killing people really quickly, Truth is going to get found. Does use the divergent path to get out quite safely. Starboy, by the way, with the Echo as well on the Lance. Not something we usually see, in fact, but double Githian Wall could be quite impressive coming up against Cloud9. Stun a target for long enough, they can't get healed.
If they fight closely in the jungle, then it certainly is very good, but right now C9 wants to fight in the lane.
Truth just taking the brunt of this punishment. In fact, Starboy did end up using the boost there as well, so that's a big engage tool down now for Nova. Crucible Fountain Echo for both captains. Oh, those on points. Ripping through 3 members of Nova right now, but Cloud9 happy to stay in the lane. They got the regeneration.
I don't know about this from Nova, though. At this point, it might be too late to stay in the lane. Truth's got to be careful here.
I think so. Truth turning out those track rounds, but actually Low Delphi decides to go in for the fight. Fountain is going to get used, but Nova again just disengaging. They just cannot seem to fight Cloud9 on an even footing.
Cloud9 still has their Fountain, so upon this next wave hitting the turret, they have an opportunity to try and make another siege play. And especially if they bait in Truth and poke him like that, it's not going to be that difficult. The only member who's healthy is Delphi. See if he can make it happen.
Well, he's not healthy anymore as he has to actually afterburn away. Starboy now in the front line does use the Githian wall, does pop the Echo as well.
Yeah. That's a Divine Intervention up right off cooldown. So suddenly C9, again, still without burning the Fountain, are basically full health. They can keep this siege going as long as Nova wants to. Nova at some point just has to engage. You're not going to win this poke war right now.
Absolutely not. Truth needs to start doing a whole bunch of damage to stop this one. Holy Nova comes out, knocks up two, but that turret is just falling old school. Free hitting in the back line, not free hitting for long though, gets punted to his team. Divine Intervention onto Joseph, and now old school's in the front line, but it doesn't matter at all. Truth's already dead. Low Delphi is next to fall. Oh, that was close. Almost ate my own words, but does manage to secure the kill in the end. Starboy running away, tail between his legs. We're almost 15 minutes on the clock, AJ. Kraken's going to spawn
Look
soon.
at what happened immediately after that fight. Nova picked up a bunch of items, right? At a certain point, you have to give up the turrets. And I think at that point, when you were dealing with the amount of healing and sustain and cooldowns that were available for Cloud9 still, it might have made sense. Let's have a look at a replay here. You can see C9 just committing mostly for the turret and not even worrying about Nova because just incidental damage, splash damage, was killing Truth so quickly. He doesn't have a lot of defensive itemization yet. On top of that, Starboy really struggled to run point for his team in this fight. It was mostly Delphi on the front lines. They kind of need to tag team in order to either deal with Joseph jumping on Truth or force old school and Gabe Visual so far out that Truth can maybe 1 versus 1 old school. That's going to be tough, you know, until maybe he picks up an Aegis on Truth. So again, backing away was honestly the right play there, I think, for Nova, especially if you have gold to spend.
Nova there. Not a massive amount of experience in best of 5 formats, and Cloud9 have that experience to back them up. You mentioned they are the London champions, the London live champions. Champions. You get what I mean. And this is kind of scary for Nova. They're on the back foot right now. Cloud9 making a really nice rotation, very aggressive, pushing up the lane. Nova have to respond now. Truth hasn't had edgeways in these fights, and you've got to say, Starboy and Lone Delphi try to make it easy. Truth gets jumped on again, has to dash backwards. Nice Githian wall onto Gabe Visual, can't get much done, but still, Divine Intervention and Echo is available. Lone Delphi going really, really low. There's the Divine Intervention as Joseph goes in. Lone Delphi healing up a Storm. That's going to be the corner used just about. Truth, he's going to go down as well. Cloud9, they're just routing Nova. Starboy left alone again. What is going on?
The problem is that whenever C9 is going for one of these fights, yes, maybe Nova can nearly kill one person, but then during the Divine Intervention, there's a whole nother carry to worry about. At this point, Old School and Joseph are both dealing extremely competitive amounts of damage, and it's very hard for Truth to find a good target because Grace controls such a massive area with the threat of Holy Nova. If Truth cannot start a fight with a number of broken myth stacks, his damage is not going to be enough to burn through Cloud9, and at this point, 2 Divine Interventions and the Gift of Fire that Old School has. Now C9, one thing I want to talk about with them is how, you know, very slowly and methodically they're controlling this game. They're not pushing their advantage in ways that they can't afford to. None of these pushes have really been risky, and that's critical because a lot of the time when you see teams as this far ahead, they do sometimes take it that little bit too far. They trade a bunch of their lives for a turret. That's not what these guys are doing, but they are going for the Kraken here.
Kraken about half HP now. Nova pushing forward are going to get spotted out by that flare. Cloud9 backing off, just resetting the Kraken. Seems to be their aim right now. Is going to get fully reset on 2 minutes of initiative. Still not willing to take a fight that they don't find advantageous. And Nova, you've got to say, they're very mechanical players as well, so maybe that's why Cloud9 didn't want to go up against them in the solid 3v3 without just poking someone out first. Like Joseph's been good at doing. Speaking of poking, Truth with those chakrams. Nova, Truth gets jumped on again. Starboy using that combat role. Can he find anything? Can't seem to find an entrance. In fact, Wartrade's going to get bombed from Cloud9. Over the wall, Joseph actually finds Truth. He's just going to get almost taken out instantaneously. Impale does end up missing, but Joseph goes down instead. Truth sends out the tracker and finally finds the kill. Joseph and Old School, they are just running away from each other. And Old School and Gabe Visual running away now. Truth got the regen. Oh dear, mounted, completely rooted. You're going to go down now. Nova fighting back. Gabe Visual on the run. Nova, they got the Kraken on the board. They might want to go take it.
All right, let's see if Truth picks up Gabe Vizzle first. I mean, Gabe Vizzle right now, he's just trying to sort of buy time, freeze a wave close to the base, make it so that if they go for this Kraken, it's A, slower, and B, going to do a bit less. But Truth, you know, he's still got to keep up to Gabe. You got to remember, Grace is an extremely fast hero. I actually think he's not going to find the kill, and especially not going to find the ace. So nice job by Gabe Vizzle to distract a little bit. With a member up now in the form of Joseph and this Kraken going quite slowly, maybe Gabe can keep him off of it for long enough, or steal. It's possible.
It is possible, Gabe. He needs to look for an entrance now. He actually decides not to go for it at all. Never get that regen buff as well. That Kraken is on the board. Eve of Harvest finished as well. Truth is coming online.
So that previous fight where Nova were able to take a win, I think we should break down a little bit why that happened. Unless Nova actually is able to jump up Joseph.
Is on the front line. Yeah, he is. Githium Wall actually is going to stun him up, but Truth is not here. He's too far away. Joseph, they might just find this time to attack right now. Lone Delphi using that afterburn to get away. War Treads the spot from Cloud9 as well.
Oh, no.
Truth has entered the fray, but Lone Delphi's already dead, and Starboy to half HP. Truth went back after the Kraken.
That was really bad news for Nova. I mean, you have to make sure that you're syncing up with your team. Going back to base serves close to literally no purpose, except for maybe shoving. I think there might have been a wave. I don't know. Maybe I'm just giving you the benefit of the doubt when I shouldn't have been. I have to admit I was focused on the Kraken. But, you know, you're already healed up for a start. And on top of that, you've got a jungle shop near you. Unless he was going for a wave, there was absolutely no reason to do that. And even if he was, you got to go with your team. That should have been a whole team call. So Nova have put themselves in a very dicey position off the back of that. And
look how much damage Truth is getting taken by Old School. Old School triple Githium Wall though from Starboy. Will stop him. Oh, the Divine Intervention is going to come through. 720 HP regained. Cloud9. They are fighting the Crystal Sentry as well, so they are going to want to back off. Starboy and Truth maybe looking for a little something. Chakram isn't going to quite find him. Echo Pop, Divine Intervention, the re-engage comes through. Truth, no cooldowns left for him. Crystal Sentry's going for the recall, and there goes another kill for Cloud9. Old School now, bumping out the damage. Lone Delphi, caught up, locked up, goes down. Starboy, last member alive. Cloud9 find the ace. They're going to head towards down the lane as well. The death time is long, and this might be game one.
It could possibly be. They've only got 2 turrets to burn through here, Jaws. Nova has got to start playing as a team. They were getting advantages through strong plays. They had a great fight in the lane, which we unfortunately never got a chance to break down. Maybe our analysts can do that. But you have to then, off the back of it, use it as a team. Cloud9, they steal away game 1.
Yeah, the last ace for Cloud9 secures them game number 1. Nova, the Rising Stars, get taken down by the reigning champions. Can Cloud9 continue this streak?
Certainly after that first game, I think they look really on form today. They were not taking many unnecessary risks. I think they took a couple towards the end of that game, but they were playing very, very smoothly. They had a great composition and draft prepared for this matchup. I think Nova's got to really reconsider what they're trying to accomplish heading into game 2.
Yeah, we'll have a look what our analysts say over on the desk. However, we'll jump on with Munchables and the guys.
Thank you very much, guys. What a game coming out there. Cloud9 are going to take it in the end, but it was definitely not the simplest, smoothest victory we've ever seen. This could well be a great series in itself if this first game is anything to go on. But Cloud9, they do manage to take it, and it definitely felt like Cloud9, they were in control for the majority of the game.
Yeah, for the most part, Cloud9 was in the driver's seat of this one. They were the ones pushing the pace. They were the ones setting the tone of the game. But Nova found some opportunities down the stretch. Unfortunately for them, it was a couple of mistakes, a couple of maybe questionable decisions that end up costing them. But Cloud9, for the most part, in this game, was able to find these opportunities to get onto Truth and win team fights.
Yeah, once again, we see this classic early aggression from Cloud9. This is something that we know them so well for, Sfuja.
Yeah, and just Gabe on Grace. He's playing so well with the engages. And I wrote a note here. Old School could have ulted. I don't know why he didn't ult. He could have ulted and maybe turned the entire fight around in their favor, but he didn't. So that was interesting to see an Adagio not come out there. But other than that, from then on, Cloud9 was just more decisive. But the ultimates from Gabe were just on point most of the entire game. And Joseph is just so good at juggling aggro. He's probably one of the best junglers when it comes to going in and coming back out and then going back in.
Yeah, absolutely. Just knowing how far he can push in, knowing when he needs to retreat from these situations. And you can see Cloud9 just bouncing around the fights and just kind of juggling the aggro almost between these Nova members so that when somebody is low, somebody else is there to replace them and to tank some of that damage.
Yeah, and that's what CJ was just talking about. It's so difficult to take down Cloud9 because they have that juggling. You need to blow someone up and kill them immediately, otherwise they are just going to get out of the fight. The other two members will then body block and prevent you from being able to get the damage done. Truth made some phenomenal plays on this Idris, and that really kind of kept Nova in this game. Starboy had some really clutch Githian wall stuns, but in the end, just wasn't quite enough.
Yeah, and this next moment happened at 20 minutes into the game. We see the recall coming on through here, but well, I mean, Sweet J, talk me through what happened.
Yeah,
here.
this is just risky here from Nova. They shouldn't have allowed these deaths. That Kraken only took one turret, and it still gave Cloud9 a 3K gold lead. And then from there, Truth, they needed to get him to his 4 items. He didn't have 4 items until he didn't get to 4 items, and that's how you want to play CP Idris, because he actually tried to make a play with 9 broken mid stacks, and almost worked, but in the end, Grace, Divine Intervention, saved the fight. Right here, Truth has 9 stacks, and with those stacks, he's able to carry, but because of the fountain, because of the Grace Divine Intervention, he's not able to secure a kill.
Not only that, but because he had already used his ultimate previously when getting engaged upon, he didn't have that safety net that allowed him to make some of those plays earlier. The casters were talking about why the recall came through. There was a large wave of minions that were in the base. That was why he did go back for the recall, to clear out those waves so that they wouldn't lose one of their Vein Crystal turrets. But the thing is, when they were just the 2 members, when it was just Starboy and Lone Delphi went for the Poison Shiv, which is what we wanted. But that means he doesn't have that much damage without Truth being there. And so the fact that they tried to go for that fight on Joseph when it was just 2 of them, they were barely able to scratch the Black Feather, and it allowed Cloud9 to then push it.
Absolutely. It's time to move on into the draft for this next game. And I mean, we've been talking about this Poison Shiv on Glaive situation when you're going against the double heal. I feel like the solution to the issue isn't necessarily building Poison Shiv on Glaive. It's not drafting yourself into a position where Glaive is your weapon power carry against a double heal composition.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because Vox Poison Shiv is a lot better into double heals, and that's why when people would pick Lyra, they normally like first ban Vox. That was something that happened in this season. So Vox is actually taken away from Noah, which is interesting. I guess they don't want School on Vox, but I feel like Vox can be countered with the right composition. Like Adagio is actually good into Vox with the right support.
Catherine going to be taken off the board. Nova, they immediately go for the Idris, which is going to allow Cloud9 to just grab Catherine.
Yeah,
we know
this is
that Cade loves to play Catherine, and so I'm surprised that they haven't locked it in already, actually.
Yeah, Catherine will definitely be picked up there. This will force a predictable Baptiste ban on the side of Nova, and Cloud9 will most likely ban away, for example, Lyra or Lance. Potentially, I think Cat into Lyra is fine. But Lance or Arden is maybe something that they can ban to not give that Idris that extra CC or that extra barrier. So let's see if they're going to take away the Arden or the Lance here. Or they might go for a Lyra, who knows? Let's see.
Yeah, they have a few options available to go for a ban, and I think trying to pinch that captain pool is certainly going to be the way forward to deny Idris the support that he's going to need in these fights. Now Nova have to decide what they want to remove. You got to assume it's going to be a Baptiste,
yeah, you
right?
have to ban Baptiste here.
Yeah,
and now Adagio. You can just take Adagio here, honestly, and then round it out with Cruel, with Glaive, with, there's so many options to counter this Idris.
They may even take the Krull right here, because obviously the Idris Krull is such a common combo.
Right.
So take that away from Nova and force them to have to try and make something else happen with this Idris pick.
Couple of different directions they could go. Krull is going to be the lock-in in the end, and 2 very, very powerful heroes individually coming out from Cloud9, and now Nova, they've got to find a way to deal with this.
They got to take Adagio here and run him as a captain, and then potentially play something like, for example, maybe Petal to counter that Cruel Catherine, because Petal is actually good against the Cruel. So let's see, but no one has really played Petal into Cruel yet. We have seen so much Cruel lately, but no Petal was coming out. So let's see if they decide to do that, because Petal and Adagio will be so strong early, he would shut down Crew's jungle completely.
We have seen a couple of petal bans
Whoa,
coming on in
Finn.
for the rest of the picks. Finn is going to come on through.
Wow.
Nova celebrating the new skin coming out perhaps and going to be able to get that. Very good at peeling though, so maybe looking to protect the carries there.
Yeah, it's only the second or third Finn pick we've had all weekend long, but like you said, it's all about protecting Truth on this Idris. That's why they want this Finn. And it's how Nova is playing their compositions the last few days. Just protect Truth and let him go crazy and carry the game.
Yeah, because they picked Finn, that's a really good counter into Catherine and Cruel, because he can quibble, he can polite company, he can keep the Cruel off the carry. Finn is very, very good into melee heroes in general. And now Cloud9 won't take the Adagio because Adagio is not good into a Finn late game. They will probably go with a Celeste because you want to play the range game against the Finn. You don't want to engage. Yeah, Celeste or Scarf. I don't know if Old School plays Scarf though.
Well, he's not going to get a chance to because Nova's going to pick this up. I would assume that's going to go to Delphi in the jungle.
Yeah, it's going to be a Celeste here. It'll be, I think it'll be Delphi on Idris. Delphi, I think, was known for his weapon Idris jungle back when he came out into the competitive scene. He was one of the best Idris players in jungle with weapon. But I think that Truth is probably better on Idris, so he'll lane the Idris, and then Scarf will be in the jungle.
Not
and
to
then
mention,
Celeste is going to round out this chapter.
Yeah, Scarf is also pretty good into the Kroll, just because you can put down those groups to help keep him at bay. If Kroll does get onto the Scarf, it then becomes troublesome for the Scarf because he doesn't really have a way to peel the Kroll off of him. But the Adagio comes through anyway.
That's a little risky because Scarf has an ultimate. If Cruel or Cat can't stun Scarf out of that ultimate, Scarf is going to do so much work. So let's see how this plays out.
This is going to be interesting, but we do have Old School playing that Adagio.
It's a little risky, but it's Old School.
Last time they did this, they lost the Dynasty on Scarf. Against Scarf and their Adagio.
That's very true. We'll see whether the Scarf is going to be the kryptonite coming out for Old School here. Cloud9 1-0 up in this series against Nova Esports, and we'll see whether they can turn that into more with this Adagio pick coming on through. I'm curious how this Finn is going to work out in this series. We've got to get on into the game though. This is heading into game number 2. Can Nova even things up, or are Cloud9 going to get another leg up? It's time to get into game.
Thank you very much, guys. Jaws and AJ back once again. Game number 2 on the way. Now, Nova, Mechanical Gods, coming up against Cloud9, who seem to just out-rotate them time and time again in game number 1. How are they going to fare in this one?
Well, the compositions are pretty interesting this time around. You heard our analysts talking about it, but the fact that they're choosing Adagio into this is very bold, actually, coming out of Cloud9. That being said, they also mentioned the fact that it is Old School on this Adagio, and this is a pick that Old School has historically just been one of the absolute best players on. Jaws is going to be a great game. C9 are doing a 3-man invade again right off the mark.
Oh, hey, Starboy.
Nova's maybe a bit more prepared for it.
Truth chat room.
Did he get it?
No. Joseph stole it away at the last second.
Good effort, though. And Truth, this time not going for the counter invade. I think that's kind of smart. You just want to maybe get as many lane minions as you can as an Idris, because against Old School Adagio, you are going to get poked out quite a lot. So you definitely might struggle in lane.
Oh man, this struggle, especially when Gabe Visual's on top of you. He's just burning down right here. Here comes Starboy. Fortified health comes through, but Old School is unrelenting. It could be first blood, Cloud9, game number 2.
Yeah, and there's nothing Delphi can do. Delphi's not even level 2, so he can't goop and maybe slow someone for a return kill. That is brutal. Cloud9 out of the gate swinging here. I was about to say that you cannot push the lane after Old School gets back. You can't do much, past the halfway mark, because against the Catherine, you're going to be at risk of being ganked, and Old School can out-trade you 90% of the time if you're playing the Idris, and it just pans out exactly like that. Truth stayed a little bit too long. He had the right idea to get the minions in whilst he could, but he couldn't do it for that length of time.
Truth's going to be hard punished now, with Old School picking up that first blood bounty as well. You can already see the gold he's acquired over him. Joseph, sorry, taking firm control of the jungle now. Low Delphi now has to play very reactive to Joseph, who's going to be able to smite away this Elder Treant. However, he's going to tank out that Spitfire, takes it away. Not too much of an issue. He's going to get healing from that as well.
Not too fun being rooted in the goop there, but this early in the game is not going to do too much work. And also Joseph. By the way, we were talking about Old School on this Adagio. I think it is worth noting that Cloud9 pretty much have a comfort composition all around. I Love Joseph used to be known for a couple of things. Kroll is one, Taka was one. So he is on a hero that he knows very well that's back in the meta, that he's probably going to be able to pilot very effectively. And Gabe Vizsla and Catherine, I mean, everyone knows about this pick. So the entirety of Cloud9's composition is things that I would expect them to really excel on. On the other hand, though, Nova, yes, they have great picks, but they've distributed them across the lineup in a way that isn't necessarily, based on these sort of signature heroes of the players. Obviously, as the analyst mentioned, Delphi was really well known for his weapon Idris. It's not something we're going to see here.
Joseph, look at the pressure he's putting on this lane already. Starboy about half HP, Lone Delphi hasn't got the best tools for ganking, apart from the goop, obviously. Maybe get a little slowdown, but other than that, not really anything in his kit. Now, Nova, they need to ride off this, well, get back the momentum. Cloud9 are on the high right now, but Nova, yes, they've come so far, but Cloud9, you can't just topple to the Titans now. You have to, keep your form, keep your posure.
And in order to do that, we got to talk power spikes, and that's where I want to go next here, Jaws. Old School is pretty close to an alternating current. That is a massive item for an Adagio in lane. It does so much damage, and especially when you've got a Catherine backing you up, and you can lock someone in so that you can guaranteed A, get the burn because Catherine's right on top of them, and B, land quite a few procs of that ability, that item, you're going to be doing a tremendous amount of damage. Even against someone like Starboy, who's fairly tanky, you're going to be doing respectable damage in the early game here. And Delphi needs to be careful. His jungle is getting invaded. This is something we see a decent amount of the time against Scarf, especially if you time the front treant. It's not too difficult to keep the pressure on and never really allow him to pick that up, especially with a passive jungler backing him up like a Finn.
Well, Joseph's in the lane again, making his presence known. A couple of big power spikes as well coming through for Cloud9. Old School picking up that alternating current, as well as that fountain finish for Gabe Vizsla. Gabe Vizsla's stacking up quite nicely as well. Already 9 stacks. He's just gaining a lot of passive shield and armor. It's going to be nice for him coming into this late game.
Now Nova is starting to send a number of members up towards the lane. I quite like this, actually. Given the fact that Old School just hit a power spike, it is a window of opportunity for them to maybe shove in the lane safely and make sure Truth gets this next wave. Then perhaps they go towards the jungle, or perhaps they even just siege and force a response out of Joseph. They know, based on the level of their own jungler, that Joseph has to be close to level 6, and I'm certain that they don't want to deal with it from Hell's Heart right now. So making him come up to lane to deal with the threat of 3 Nova members up there does allow for them to get the farm that they need and get it quite safely, although Joseph...
Well, Joseph has got that right now. Those stacks are quite nice on Starboy, but isn't going to get taken out by that smite just yet. Old School still level 4, so he's not doing a whole world of damage right now, even with that alternating current. Still forces him back, though. Joseph, every time we see him on the crawl, he's very eager to come into this lane. Has got Tension Bow as well, so it's a massive lot of burn damage. There you go from Hell's Heart underneath the turret. Truth going very, very low. Has to dash out, but the smite is going to find him. Cloud9 picking up a kill. Joseph takes just an inch too many tower shots. Has to end up backing off here. Joseph still looking for the push. Oh dear, a quibble on top of the head won't do you too well. Lone Delphi with the gloop as well. It's going to send a Gabe Vizsla packing.
I was about to mention the fact that Cloud9 can dive very effectively, having hit level 6 in the Fog of War. Joseph had a big advantage just with a sort of a knowledge perspective to Nova. When you reveal your level 6, you really want it to be impactful as a Kroll, because you know, as Nova, you can't ever fully know unless you have vision down when exactly from Hell's Heart is available to him, and Cloud9 made good use of it. They did overstay their welcome a little bit, Joseph perhaps riding the emotion of making it happen. Did get punished. Nova aren't too far behind right now. About 100 gold is not too bad. That being said, I do think C9 has a power spike right now that Nova can't really deal with, especially before Truth picks up maybe one more item. I think it's going to be difficult for them to fight. Delphi, I like the fact that he's making...
Joseph is here. He has got from Hell's Heart available still. They're just going to lock up Truth, but Quibble's going to come out. He's going to be able to escape. He's going to run into Joseph. Oh, that was so close. Trackham almost finding him, but Joseph ends up backing off quite nicely, ends up blowing the From Hell's Heart, but they still have the resource advantage in terms of health. They're going to be able to push on this turret quite nicely.
You know, ultimately they did get something for that ultimate usage too. They have so much pressure in lane off the back of that, that even if they're not able to take the turret this push, next push is perhaps a different story. Gabe Vizsla is also level 6 now. Nova's Starboy is not, so ultimates between the two captains are in a different situation. C9 might try and make some pressure happen here before Forced Accord is available. If they can find that window of opportunity.
Gabe is around Old School, popping back to base, or at least Old School get interrupted.
Old School staying around is not a big deal, actually. Unless, yeah, he's already got a reflex block. I like that a lot. He picked up the reflex block before his second tier 3 item. That's Tension Bow for you, Joss.
Yep.
I love Joseph doing some serious work. Tension Bow is particularly good here too, because a large part of what Joseph is trying to do is be a delivery mechanism for Gift of Fire. You want to dive in, you want to do a big amount of damage up front, and then allow for Old School to follow up. So just having the ability to hit and run when perhaps a turn from Starboy with an overdriven Quibble soon is going to punish you for that kind of play is very, very good. Quick tower for. Sorry, turret for Cloud9. You're going to get gold mine as well.
Yeah, Cloud9 quick on the rotations. Spoke about the macro game being on point. Nova, are they going to be able to contest this? Starboy does have the force to call over the wall. Perfectly timed Crucible from Gabe Fizzle. Will just secure their lives and secure their gold miner. It's a big gold advantage for them now as well. Almost stretching to 2,000. We're only 8 minutes into the game. Old School stack it up. He's got Broken Myth now as well.
Yeah, Old School's definitely starting to hit a massive power spike. The first one... Actually, Adagio is kind of an interesting hero for this reason, because you spike really hard off of one item, you also spike really hard off of two. It's kind of after that point that you just have more of like a linear power scaling, because obviously Broken Myth does a lot of work in those extended fights, something which Adagio inherently is good at given his sustain, and the alternating current, as we mentioned earlier, is just syncs up nicely with the amplification that comes out of his abilities. Right now, Cloud9 are actually playing a little slower than I would have maybe anticipated them to, given their advantage at this stage in the game. You do not want to get to a point where Truth has 3 items, and Delphi has 3 items, or in fact 2. Picking up a Broken Myth here is going to be huge for him, and he's very, very close to it.
Old School just wants to fight though. Polite Company for the fortified health. Nova still taking a lot of chip damage from Old School. Joseph, he's such a scary, scary Corral player. He is 1-1-0 right now. Only 2 kills in the game, mind you. But with that Tension Bow from Hell's Heart, his accuracy must be through the roof.
We haven't explicitly mentioned it yet, Jaws, but this is a double crystal power composition coming out of Nova. And, I don't think it gets punished in quite the same way as double weapon, because the armor items are
Truth
really
might be
good.
in trouble. Oh, there's another from Hell's Heart here, straight into the Merciless Pursuit. Didn't even need the ult. They're going to find a kill. They're going to find the Sentry in Cloud9. Now they are stepping pedal to the metal.
They are indeed. Goldmine not worth their time at the moment, though. They're not going to back up onto that one. They're just going to take other jungle camps away, push in the lane, try and choke out the money on the map. Let's talk about double crystal power real quick, though. Double weapon power can be really hard to make work because the item that really punishes it the most is Atlas. It does a great deal of work against the fact that you're attacking at all, because it reduces your attack speed, but it also has a good amount of armor on it. If you're trying to itemize into shield, it isn't quite as appealing, in my opinion, to go deep into the shield path. A lot of armor and shield on Metal Jacket plus an Aegis doesn't feel as good as the big active that actually denies your opponents from Atlas. So I think that Cloud9 are going to have a bit of trouble dealing with the high burst that's coming out of Nova, especially someone like Joseph. One way that you deal with a Kroll is you kill him before he stacks on you, right? Like, if you're able to kite effectively, if you're able to deal damage to him as he's initiating, then he's not able to get a lot of his kit online. And that's something which Double Crystal does actually facilitate, because a lot of your damage is front-loaded. Especially if you've had poke prior to the fight and have broken myth stacks, but even still, just throwing out Spitfire could be very effective at slowing down Joseph.
Goldminer going down here again, forced to cord over the wall. Oh, won't help secure it though. Cloud9 still managed to get it. They're still going to chase them up. That's a big blast tremor onto 2 members. Truth has to back off here. Old School taking that forward healing camp. Cloud9 still secure that gold mine, but oh boy, Starboy.
These are really close, actually. Starboy, I like what he's trying to do. He's trying to use Force to Cord, which at the moment I don't think he actually wants to pull someone in. I think it's going to go badly if he tries to set up a fight in that way, because there's so much of an advantage on Cloud9 right now. But you can still use it to good effect, and going for the gold mine is one way. Plus, it also, I think, is a nice little story that he's trying to make the Rekt play when Rekt is sitting behind Cloud9 right now. So I got to applaud him for it. Right now, though, only 1 sentry on the map left for Nova. Cloud9 is doing a great job of applying pressure, so much so in the lane that a reaction is forced. I mean, in fact, even a minion candy is forced here from Nova. They need to do something about this, or they're going to lose all 3 sentries.
Gabe Fizzle going in. Merciless Pursuit. Truth on the wrong side of the turret. Old School's going to be there as well. Takes a Quibble hit. Turret ends up going down. Gabe Fizzle does have Echo, doesn't have Blast Tremor. Truth, yeah, zipping away. Smart choice. Joseph coming forward, does have From Hell's Heart still. They're just focusing Starboy right now. That's the
So
person in
much
the front
damage.
line. It's actually disgusting. Fountain comes out. Cloud9 find yet another kill. Nova just cannot seem to respond.
This is the thing, right? So C9 were choking out Nova. That's what they were doing. They were saying, you know, no matter where you go on the map, you're not really getting much. We're taking all your jungle camps. We're pushing in your lane so you can't push ours. We're taking your sentry, so eventually you're going to have nowhere to retreat to if you fight us in the jungle. C9 was playing comprehensively.
Oh, nice reflex block. Hang on a second. Here comes the Dragon's Breath. Cloud9 now fully disengaged. There's the
Good
Blast Tremor.
silence.
Beautiful silence. Double Blast Tremor to lock up. Truth going very low. Fortified HP just about saving him. As Starboy ends up sporting, trying to find the kill onto low
C9 needs to
Delphi.
get out of here.
C9 very, very low. Forced to cord blocked. Health bar's blinking. So's Truth, though. You got a back, buddy. You are on 100 HP right now.
Cloud9 stayed about as long as I think it made sense to. There, any longer would have been really, really scary. But Nova, this is their opportunity to clear out some of that vision that Cloud9 has managed to accrue for themselves by their aggressive, proactive play so far. That's important because it's only a minute and a half until Kraken spawns.
And Nova right now, they are kind of on the ropes. You mean, you look at the gold, it's 4,013 minutes. Cloud9, once again, proving their macro game is so much stronger than Nova's. And they've been touted as this mechanical team throughout the tournament. And looking at Truth right now, and actually we'll look at Starboy as he's actually just going to get engaged on completely. Crystal Sentry is going to be here to help, but look at the damage coming out from Old School. I'm not sure it's going to be enough. A two-man quibble isn't going to stop the relentless pursuit of Cloud9. Old School picks up the kill, and that will be the Crystal Sentry just being eliminated now.
This is very bad news as well, because especially when Kraken is coming onto the map, it's important, if possible, to have your sentry available as a point of retreat, and it's not going to be there. Only a minute till Kraken spawns. Cloud9, if they can pick up some good vision here, should be in a position to take it. They want to fight.
More treads used in Truth, dashing away once again. Joseph not blowing that from Hell's Heart. It's going to be very, very crucial in their next engagement.
All right, Cloud9. It's kind of their game to lose at this point, but there are windows for Nova to make their way back into this one. I think a lot of it does have to do with vision, so I like that Starboy is investing a lot into flares. You got to be able to see C9 coming so that you can start to lay down that burst damage onto Joseph as he initiates. Joseph is also building super smartly, though. I mean, he's only picked up 2 offensive items, nothing more, going very heavily into defense now, and shield, of course, against double CP. It's going to make it hard.
From Hell's Heart gets the boomerang, and he scores him as well. The Quibble's going to stun him. Blast Tremor comes through. Joseph, absolute beast. Starboy on the front line now. Yep, Quiggle, see you later, mate. Quibble not doing all too much. Cloud9, 2 members down now, and Nova, they are crumbling at the seams.
Has anyone got that gif, you played yourself? That was what Truth did right there. He reflex blocked. He was fine. Just run into the From Hell's Heart. You're going to be able to get away. You can see it here again. The setup in the bush from C9. Truth, reflex block. It comes off because he dodged. He could have ran directly into it, and this fight would have looked a lot different. I actually don't think that Nova would have been able to win the fight, regardless, because C9 are very far ahead. But still, you got to take every edge you can to come back into a game where you're this far behind. And during that replay, C9, of course, pick up the Kraken, because at this stage in the game, with this much dominance in the jungle, there's no way that Nova can really react.
Maybe this is the tale of Nova. Maybe they're just how young they are coming off of this. And Cloud9, such an experienced roster, you got to say, they're not being tested at all right now. Seems like a bit of a walk in the park. Nova, we know this was going to be a tough challenge. Joseph over the wall is going to get flared out, but Gabe Bizzle looking for the stun. Oh, double stun straight onto Truth. Just gets obliterated. Kraken just going to knock on the front doors as well. Forced to cord, blocked by Old School. There goes the turret, AJ, and this one, it's a little bit anticlimactic now as Cloud9, they're pushing on the base. They're probably not going to be able to go for an end, although Joseph kind of wants a little bit more. Delphi taking half his health.
It's going to be really hard to defend this one, but Delphi's certainly got to try all the stuff on the line here for Cloud9.
Turret's going to go down. Then we're going to want to go for another one here. Dragon's Breath comes through. Cloud9 being a little bit greedy here. Gabe Bizzle's just going to burn up. Beautiful 3-man quibble, but Joseph's on the back line. Finds Starboy. Kraken still knocking on the Vein Crystal. This might just be it. Double kill comes through for Truth. Ace as well, and I'm sure the Kraken will fall only just, but that Crystal, about half HP now.
Cloud9, I can't really fault them for going that hard. You know, you're going to get 2 turrets. You're going to be in a position where you can pretty much just push straight up to win after your respawn. And Nova is so far away from the first objective they can take. There's no way they're really going to get much off the back of it. The only thing that Nova was able to do was A, not lose the game, which is great. Don't get me wrong, not losing the game is great. But they also got a bit of gold here, so it's going to be key how they spend it. We are seeing actually scout traps picked up by Delphi. I don't dislike this. They need to be able to see a backdoor attempt, and they also need to be able to see Joseph coming, like I said earlier on. Maybe they can make this work for themselves if they just find the right position on the map. We do have an Eve of Harvest now on to Truth. That's going to help them a lot in these longer fights, especially because there's not a lot of burst on Cloud9. It's pretty consistent damage coming out from that
vision
lineup
as well on the overhead. So much of it for Cloud9, just littering Nova's jungle. Now, Cloud9 backing off, not willing to take the trade. Nova hit those power spikes though that they kind of needed to. Low Delphi, Eve of Harvest, Broken Myth, got an Infusion, has got the pretty much everything he wants. War Tread's used in from Cloud9, double pair of War Treads. Here comes Joseph in a 2v1, but Old School's going to find Truth. Look at the damage coming out. Game visible on the Gloop. Can't move too far forward. They're going to get stunned in a corner now. Blast Drum onto 3, will get blocked. Oh, Low Delphi, beautiful block, but it doesn't matter. Old School finds him. Starboy's going to go down as well. Truth needs to find a 1v3. I'm not sure it's going to happen though. Cloud9, they might just find their second game. Game fizzle. Oh, that shield almost saved his life. The ace for Cloud9. That will be the base as well. 2 games up. Match point for Cloud9.
Cloud9 are looking so darn good, Jaws. We might see them in the finals if things keep going this way. Nova needs to rally. Guys, you got to remember, this is their first live championship appearance. This is a team that does not yet know how bitter it can be to be defeated in this environment, but right now I'm sure the pressure is mounting. On the other end, Cloud9 are riding the momentum, and it is starting to really show. I think that game was even more convincing than the last.
An untested roster of Nova. Every win you mentioned before was further than they've ever gotten, so even getting this far up to the semi-finals is something good to reflect upon. We've got 3 people on the desk to reflect upon this game though. We've got Joe and the guys.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, Nova unfortunately going down another one, but Cloud9 sitting pretty now on 2-0 in this series. Just a singular game away from taking this one. And Nova, they've come a long way. They've exceeded expectations up to this point, and now they have a bit of a mountain to climb. The way to think about it is 3 best of ones. Each and every game is a stepping stone for them, just like every single series win has been in the past to get to this point.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very difficult battle for them to be able to take this. They need to get 3 games in a row off of Cloud9 when throughout the entire regular season they've only ever been able to take 1. And the way that Cloud9 is playing and the way Nova is playing, this is just looking like Cloud9 is the superior team.
Yeah, and the way that Gabe just used that Dragon Blood contract in the early game to slow and get kills, and the combo with Cruel, Adagio, and Catherine was just too deadly. They just got locked down every time. And a lot of times Truth would be overextended. Like Starboy got caught in jungle, that led to the gold mine being taken, Truth getting killed in lane. And again, see, look, they just can't do much against Cloud9. They just focus the front line, kill Starboy, and then take an objective after objective.
And the Finn has not had a strong showing this weekend. And I think one of the big problems with the Finn in compositions like this is that you can't really dictate when you fight. You know, you want to be able to build up your Broken Myth stacks when you have this double CP comp. But then, you know, how do you actually get into a fight once you get those stacks? If you're able to poke and get those stacks, it all relies on Finn being able to land a force to court. If that gets blocked, all of a sudden you're sitting there like just with your hands in the air because you don't know what to do because you can't engage, you can't force the fight, and it allows Cloud9 to basically just walk around and wait until they find an angle that they feel is an advantageous position for them to go in.
Yeah, it often feels like when you're playing this game that you're just too slow to be in the right position all the time and often just outmaneuvered. And Cloud9, just, you know, after a very strong early game, they managed to snowball into a much more significant lead. And at this point, they almost managed to end early.
Yeah, definitely did. And at this point, this is the time that Nova had a comeback, is during this ace here. And they had all their turrets down, but they had Broken Myth, they had a lot of damage items. They needed to make some key plays. But in the end, Cloud9 just executed their composition so well. Gabe lands so many silences, so many good stuns. And again, they're split up and they're not, like Nova is always split up and not focused. And Truth constantly gets really low and they have to focus and back off. And then in the end, Cloud9 just goes in and just focuses down Scarf, Delphi, just gets deleted immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we can see that this was a double CP composition coming out from Nova. It didn't really work out for them here. Do we feel like the fact that it was double CP was the issue here, or was it what was the reason for this?
The double CP wasn't the issue. The only person that was able to build multiple shield items was the Krull. I mean, the Catherine's not going to build a ton of shield because she actually wants to take a little bit of damage to be able to get the reflections out. The Adagio is going to be building 4 offensive items. So the double CP wasn't the issue here. It was really just Cloud9 outperforming Nova. That's what the issue was for Nova.
All right, Suijay, I want you to talk some words of hope for me right here. For the Nova fans at home right now, what is it that Nova need to pull together to get back into this series? How do they get on the scoreboard right now?
Stop making mistakes. That's the key against Cloud9. They will catch you out. Every time one person gets caught out in lane, in jungle shop, etc., it leads to an objective. Turret, gold mine, gold lead slowly trickles up, and Cloud9 is so good at the macro game. They take sentry, gold mine, turret, and before you know it, you're so behind that you can't even come back.
Yeah, and it's like every single little mistake will be absolutely penalized by a team as good as Cloud9.
Yeah, and it's tough to not make mistakes against Cloud9 because the way that they play, they try and force you to make mistakes. They play this very aggressive style early on that it just breeds mistakes. It's kind of forced errors in terms of like Vainglory, where they're so aggressive that you feel like you have to try and make these rotations in order to capitalize and prevent them from being able to walk over your entire jungle. But once you make those rotations, that's when they catch you out of position.
Yeah, and right now it feels like Cloud9, they're the defending champions, right? And their pride is on the line in this series. They are the favorites, and they should be coming in strong. And looking at their gameplay, they are playing exactly like that, because this is merciless. This is not messing around. This is not playing with silly compositions or anything. This is getting to the finals ASAP, no messing around.
Yeah, definitely. And Nova's got to understand Cloud9's win condition. Finn never stood in front to block a Cruel or CC Cath, and then Truth cannot get stunned like that. So they have to play better against Cloud9, understand their win conditions, and counter it, because positioning errors are easy to fix.
All right, well, Cloud9 going to start this draft off with an Idris ban. Now over to the side of Nova. We'll see where they are going to go with this one.
Yeah, Idris has just been so strong for Truth, even though they've been able to defeat it twice now. They just don't want Truth to be playing that hero. It's, maybe just, even if they've beaten it, there's like, you know what? It still is so strong. If there's a chance for Nova to come back, we think it's through that Idris, so just get it off the table.
Yeah, Cloud9 going to be able to grab themselves a Grace. It's been an incredibly influential pick across the course of this tournament.
Baptiste comes out.
Early lock-in for Nova, but this is one of the picks that they found their fame on.
Yeah, and they're going to captain it probably if Cloud9 bans the Cath. If Cloud9 doesn't ban the Cath and give it over, that's going to be a really hard competition to play into. So I do expect that Cath ban coming out. And Nova's pulling out probably their best draft right now because they have to. And this is a composition that this season they performed it so well on the Captain Baptiste.
They also made that pedal ban so that now Cloud9 is thinking, are they going to try and get this Krull? Like, do we want to ban away the Krull or do we ban away the Catherine? I still think Catherine is the right choice to make here, because if they get the Catherine, they're not going to pick a Krull to round out that composition. But with the Catherine ban, they are going to take the Krull. So excellent draft from Nova, knowing that they have 2 choices that they wanted, and they guarantee themselves one.
Adagio Blackfeather again, and that's going to just counter the comp, because Blackfeather is good to get around the crew and dodge him, get through the Ordains and etc. And Grace just counters the crew. I mean, Adagio Blackfeather and Grace can just focus the crew when he's stunned, and they can blow him up, because crew only excels when he gets his weakness stacks onto an opponent, so he gets that extra lifesteal, 10% per stack, and then he can then land his smite to get like a 600 plus heal. But that's not going to happen if Adagio, Blackfeather, and Grace are going to stun you off. So it looks like it's going to be Glaive and Adagio here, I believe.
We'll see how that one's going to pan out. Now, obviously, there are other options available for Nova when it comes to their final lock-in here. Still got things like the Scarf, like the Celeste on the table. Where do you expect them to go with this final pick?
The Adagio would make a lot of sense. They could go in multiple different directions, though. Perhaps they could grab something like they're going to go with the Adagio. It makes the most sense with what they have and the way that the games today have been being played.
And then Nova, I think, will probably go with Celeste here, but that's a little risky with the Grace that has a level 9 Benediction. Level 5 max Benediction with the range 9.
They could try the Kestrel. The Kestrel was what they ran with this composition a lot in the regular season.
That would be double weapon, though.
Yeah, well, it would be double weapon, but We saw it towards the end of the season that the Kestrel and Krull double weapon comps were actually doing quite well. And so there is an opportunity for them to try and make that work.
Yeah, it's just really risky. Joseph's glaive is so good. I mean, he's going to get such good afterburn onto the Kestrel and even the Celeste. So Celeste we picked here. The Baptiste, though, is good into countering the afterburn and canceling out with the Ordained Stun.
An interesting note about the Celeste, though, even though it has been so strong this weekend, this is the first time we have seen Truth on Celeste this season. So it will be interesting to see if he can play it up to the same level as his Idris and his Kestrel.
He has been heralded for his mechanical play. He's been heralded as a hyper carry. Celeste is definitely a hero that is possible on. It's time for Nova to show that they deserve to be here right now. If they want to go through to the finals, they have to get these games on the board. Cloud9 are 2-0 up in this series. They are 1 game away from facing Immortals in our grand finals later today. We'll see whether Nova can take it to them. It's time to get into the 3rd game of this series. It's time to see if Cloud9 can finish the job.
Thank you very much, guys. Here we go. Cloud9 1 game away from potentially being 2-time winners of the Lives Championships. I'm excited to get into this one.
1 game and 1 series.
1 game and 1 series. I said potentially, but Nova, they do need to find a reverse sweep here in order to see themselves in the finals.
This has got to be a really tough situation for Nova mentally. It's not something they're used to, being on the live stage like this, and their backs are very much against the wall. But at the same time, maybe this is the situation they needed to find themselves in to really dig deep and find out how far they can go. We'll have to see. Cloud9, on the other hand, they're no strangers to this situation. Like you said, they could end up, if they keep playing like this, being repeat champions. So they know what they need to do to lock in this game. They got to keep playing clean. They got to keep being decisive. And they got to keep forcing issues. That's one thing they've been doing fantastically throughout the series. They've been making it so that Nova has no option but to play into their hands and to play into their traps.
It's got to be scary for Nova. Right now, they are on the ropes, right on the edge. They need to be able to push back against the Titans that are Cloud9. You can hear the crowd already. They are going absolutely insane. They know everything is on the line. We're going to jump on to the fold. Can this be Nova's redemption? Can they fight their way back? Or will Cloud9 just take it all?
All right, well, let's start that conversation by looking at the compositions and also the plays that Cloud9 are making, because this is a bit new. They're not going for that 3-man invade through the jungle. They're going for the 3-man invade from the lane, but Nova saw this one coming. They're grouped up.
Uh-oh, okay, Vizzle in the middle of it all. Old School's going to be the target, though, going down very low. Lone Delphi's just sticking on him like glue. They trade 1 for 1 in the end. Joseph backing off, though. Truth is doing a lot of damage with those Heliogenesis in the early game. Gave Vizzle off to the side. Whoop! Double dipped him there. Cloud9, they do lose 1, but so do Nova. However, Nova are going to try and take one of these healing camps away.
That was a really nice sequence in the early game from Nova, but they do have to be careful not to bite off too much here as they go for the invade. Oh, they get the camp. Old School, this is a bad situation to be in.
Old School. Joseph is here, but in a 2v1 with Old School going so low, it's just wise you back off. That'll be Nova picking up another kill. Lone Delphi and Truth now with 1 apiece.
You know, sometimes you got to stop making the same plays. And Cloud9, I like the creativity of trying to make that play through the lane instead of through the jungle. But if you think about what response Nova is likely to have, having seen it twice, it doesn't really matter which direction you go. Like, that's the obvious bush for them to maybe make their way into if they want to make a response play, or they would have gone underneath all the way to the shop. Either way, Cloud9 is not going to be well positioned to deal with a response from Nova. So Cloud9 get punished a little bit for trying to make the same thing happen too many times. Nova are definitely showing that they haven't fully checked out of this game, you know, mentally as a result of pressure.
Delphi's been spotted, though. Starboy is coming down. Delphi's going to get knocked off by the Holy Nova. Game Vizzle just pounding him away. Cordae's going to come out. That was really big. Lone Delphi's going to exit straight away. Old School's here. Joseph's so close to going down, but Starboy ends up sacrificing himself for the good of the cause. Lone Delphi ends up surviving.
Yeah, I like the fact that Starboy did decide to take that one for the team. Delphi might be able to find something here as he actually goes in.
Joseph's very low. He gets the cap and he gets the kill as well. Game Vizzle didn't expect that, and neither did Joseph. Delphi really stepping up his game.
Man, this is a crazy game already here, Jaws, with so much action early on. The compositions in the jungle definitely allow for that. The laners, neither of them really want to fight too hard before, you know, super early. Old School maybe after one item can, but Truth certainly needs to find a couple here. Nova are doing a good job of buying space for Truth. You can see he's getting a pretty substantial creep lead over Old School just by virtue of the fact that you can shove in so effectively, you can also pressure Old School quite effectively as a Celeste, and as a result, Old School's got his work cut out for him.
Old School's going to get jumped on. Gavizzle's here for the protection. Can he find his way out? Old School healing up quite nicely, but Low Delphi does smite him away. However, just ends up surviving with a bare inch of health.
This is good news for Truth as well. This has bought him a lot of space created in the lane to really shove in the wave, which you can do quite effectively with this Void Battery and Heavy Prism, and then deny Old School even more farm. Joseph is trying to react by going for some camps here, but Delphi's back.
Delphi is here. Does have a couple of items underneath his belt as well. The Ordain's going to find Joseph. He's in a lot of trouble. Does have to afterburn, so he can make a little bit of distance. I think he's going to be all right for the time being. However, Truth doing the right thing, taking away the backs now of Cloud9.
Tell ya, I don't know what SEMC was thinking when they made a jungler with such an easy escape that Joseph could play, because he's so good at finding windows of opportunity to go for counter jungling, but normally it's kind of a tough challenge to get out of there if you get jumped on. As Glaive, you have an easy out every single time with that afterburn, and I like the fact that Joseph is trying to find windows here, especially when Nova has been so aggressive in the jungle so far. He knows that he needs to get farmed somewhere. We are seeing now the first big item being picked up for Lone Delphi here is a tension bow. That's going to be very good for these opportunities that he's been finding to pick people off. Joseph might be one of them.
Oh, Joseph's going to be one of them. Yeah, all those Ren stacks. Oh, that was close. I thought Gavizzle was going to go in there for the Benediction, but just decided against it in the end. Truth, all Core Collapse actually onto Old School, taking a fair bit of work. However, Heliogenesis didn't get traded whatsoever. Delphi going fairly aggressive. Joseph does have to afterburn away through the Ordain, so he didn't get stunned, so he can make anything of it.
This is one of the things that the analysts were alluding to a little bit. Grace is very, very good against Kroll. Anyone who needs to stay on top of someone in melee range is going to struggle against Holy Nova, and certainly Kroll, who needs to really keep stacking up and stay close to be in range to smite after in order to cash in all of those stacks, does need to do that. Early on into the game where you don't have the From Hell's Heart to maybe follow after someone initially escapes, or high-level boots to keep the fights moving, it can be quite difficult. So although Nova is doing a good job of finding windows of opportunity to apply pressure, they have translated it into relatively few kills considering the amount of attempts that they've made.
They've got 1,000 gold in the bank though over Cloud9, so that's always going to be a good one. Now, Delphi is almost at this level 6 mark. You've got to be kind of scared. Cloud9 actually making rotating down to the shop. Nova is going to match them. Big item spikes picked up Cloud9 though. That's a beautiful core collapse onto Joseph. A lot of damage down to Low Delphi. Core completely alone, but the heal comes through from... Oh, I don't know even what that was. Joseph ends up falling. That is going to be... Oh, the scout trap. Oh, he was close. Gavizzle. Joseph. Oh, Solar Storm. We're good. I gave him a heart attack. True still wanted to follow this one up. Core Collapse doesn't end up hitting. He actually blocks it. Gavizzle going back on him. Holy Nova isn't going to get hit either. Starboy off to the side. He ends up taking him out with a Heliogenesis. Nova get another one on the board. Old School. He's going to have to back off. Starboy wants a little chunk of him, though. But knowing his teammates could be around the corner, ends up just taking the healing camp and walking away.
Honestly, it's to Nova's credit that that didn't go better for Cloud9, because they'd manufactured a situation where they had control over the jungle shop and therefore were able to pick up item spikes right before that fight happened. If you look at Starboy and what he had available, he's got his fountain, that's great, but Truth, he's sitting on Eve of Harvest. That's not something comparable to the power spike that Old School gets.
Oh, reposition. Truth in a lot of trouble from Hell's Heart from downtown, though, but he has no energy to follow that one up with. Game Fizzle, Joseph, though, hot on his tail. Core collapse onto one. Joseph can't move out of the Ordain. Truth survives, picks up the kill. Starboy comes in big. Old School and Game Fizzle now have to exit the fight.
Very nice stuff from Nova. Good reactions again and again.
Oh, my goodness. Tension bow proc to the back of the head. Old School goes back to base, and Nova, they want this reverse sweep.
They really do, and they are definitely showing that they have the capacity to make it happen. This is a different Nova than we saw in game number 1 and 2, Jaws. This is the Nova I think many of their fans know that they can be, though, as they are being very aggressive. They're playing very well in mechanical fight situations.
Uh-oh, Truth in a lot of trouble. Still didn't go back to base. However, Nova do end up securing the gold miner. About 200-something gold to each of them. A Frostburn picked up from Truth now as well, so really starting to come online with that Eve of Harvest match.
Yeah, that Frostburn is definitely a nice complementary item to that Eve early on as a lane Celeste. I've been talking a lot about jungle Celestes so far and what sort of items they're looking for. you know, in that series we saw earlier on today. But Elaine Celeste has the ability to go for much more utility early on to back up the earlier power spikes of the jungle Kroll, and then really start to pick up your damage items later because your gold income is pretty much assured in that role. Truth is going to be doing a lot of work to keep targets available for Delphi to execute with, for example, that smite. And Delphi, he's looking for those plays right now. From Hell's Heart is available.
You know, Dane 2 can stop people in their tracks. It's quite a scary composition when you come up against this Baptiste and Rhyme. Oh, you can see him. They know he's there. They know he's there. You can see they're positioning up towards the top of that tower. However, they are going to go in. Holy Nova onto one. Low Delphi caught off to the sidelines, but I'm sure he's not going to mind that at all. Bolter's going to come in from Elsar. The boomerang comes down, but it's not going to matter. First Judgment comes down. Low Delphi goes down. Old School picks up the kill. Well, Joseph secures it in the end. Truth and Starboy ending up having to back off here. Benediction in from Gabe Bizzle just to make sure they know their place. Truth following up, though. Ooh, Solar Storm. Is it going to find him? Joseph only narrowly avoiding it.
Yep, nice response there from Cloud9 to get out of the situation once they picked up a quick kill. Old School does need to watch out for Truth, though, as he starts to siege onto this turret with the regeneration on energy from Eve. Nova does have an opportunity to do some good damage to it before rotating down out of there. Now, Joseph, he's making his way back in. We'll see if he goes for something here. What I want to touch on is the way in which that fight developed, because at the beginning of it, it looked a little bit like maybe Delphi and Truth were going to be able to do good enough damage to Old School that they would find a kill. Divine Intervention is now available, though, as we've seen Gabe Bizzle hit 6 and exceed it at this point. And also, you get a lot of fortified health when you decide to channel your Verse of Judgment. So Old School was actually pretty difficult for them to take down, even through things like the weakness stacks, even through things like Truth finding some pretty good damage.
Truth is really starting to come online. He's got the clockwork to his name as well. This pure mechanical god is quite scary when you come up against him when he's fed. Gabe Bizzle in the front line. Holy Nova is going to get blocked. Here comes Lone Joseph just to try and disengage. There's the Divine Intervention on Joseph, keeping him alive. Low Delphi in the front line does get the smite off. That massive heal just about gets him out alive. No one traded just yet. Solar Storm, that was close. Oh boy, hot on their fingers now. Poison Shield, by the way, finished from Low Delphi, so that's going to help with the heals coming out from Cloud9.
It's actually going to be really big in this mid game, especially because right now is when Nova was really struggling to deal with those heals. It's going to be the ultimate. No Fear connects, though, onto Old School, so Cloud9 can get out of there. Starboy burned a pretty long cooldown to try and make something happen there. C9 might look to capitalize, seeing as they've only got 20 seconds until Divine Intervention is up. That is a good window of opportunity. Gotta be careful, though.
Yeah, but Holy Nova is going to find 2. Joseph's actually in at 1v1 against Low Delphi, but Truth's going to be the target instead. Nice rotation coming through for Joseph. Starboy is going to get chased out by Old School as well. Burning away. Can they find the last tick of damage? Afterburn from Joseph.
No
might just find it. Yep, no energy available. Starboy using those boots. He ends up getting away, but Lone Delphi is going to meet him. They do find one, but this could be actually a turret now for Cloud9.
They do have some good damage here. Adagio is hitting pretty hard with that alternating current. Delphi wants to defend.
Oh, he does indeed. Nice stun. Fish check comes through. Solar Storm onto 4 people. Divine Intervention and the Fountain to keep them all alive. Holy Storm is going to get blocked. Low Delphi still wants this kill. The smite comes through. Old School ends up going down. He survived for way longer than Cloud9 anticipated. Turret helps finish off the kill. Cloud9, they still end up losing a member, but they do at least trade it for one.
And Truth is back, fully regenerated and looking for some damage. I actually kind of like Gabe.
What are you doing there?
He's trying to keep him off the turret, I think.
All right, well, he does end up going down regardless. Truth with the fadeaway heliogenesis. Look at this turret HP now here, AJ. This could end up going down. Joseph, the only one left to defend.
Ooh, gets out of that core collapse. That is key, but Ordain's still doing some work. Old School, he's not going to be able to get back in time to save the turret either. So in the end, Gabe's sacrifice in vain. He was not able to defend that objective for Cloud9. This is a heck of a game, Jaws, to be game number 3 here. Nova looks so much cleaner than they have in the last 2 games, feeling energized by the situation that they are in with their backs against the wall.
They've just collected the gold miner as well. It's an extra 300 gold each. They're looking at a 5,000 gold lead at 12 minutes. They have Echo on Starboy. this is going completely south. If you remove the name tags from these two teams, you'd say Cloud9 maybe on Nova's side, but Nova really showing you what they're made of. Old School might be in a little bit of trouble, does actually have to pot the boots there. Truth a little bit far forward, does exactly the same thing. Joseph cannot move when that Ordained's on him. Starboy being the perfect captain.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. Truth actually managing to stay cool in that situation, not even pop the reflex block, and back as Cloud9 approaches the brush that he is standing in. So Nova, they're really feeling confident right now. You can see it in the micro decisions that they're making just as much as the macro ones. Here comes the turret push.
They got a lot of damage. So's Joseph, though. He finds Starboy. Fearsome Shade comes down, but it's going to get completely denied. Core collapse. And Ordained does absolutely nothing as the heals come through from Game Fizzle. Holy Nova goes a little bit wide. Truth in the front line now. So weak. No HP, no problem. Now it's only alone Delphi to clean up the mess. Truth with 4 damage items and only a reflex block goes down in an instant when Cloud9 focus him.
Very nice stuff from Cloud9, playing that fight very cleanly. Nova was very much unable to respond to the aggression from Cloud9 there. We did not see the Fearsome Shade come out and be effective. We did not see the echo on that ability to really shut down Cloud9. Gabe Vizzle, as much of a god as he is with Crucible, can only block one of those two with it. So if Nova plays this correctly, they do have ways of locking down Cloud9 and buying time for the weakness stacks, buying time for the broken myth stacks, so that Nova can start to win fights over the longer term. You gotta remember that, especially when you're playing a double heal comp with specifically Grace and not Lyra, most of your healing is coming from Divine Intervention. There are 2 of those, because she has an Echo now, but at the same time, if you can weather that storm, you can get to a point where you can start to win out in the longer team fights.
Uh-oh, Nova's been caught out, Truth being one of them. Jumps on his bruising, but it's going to be enough. Holy Nova sends him flying. Cloud9 take the kill. Old School adds another notch to his belt. Nova lose 1, and they might just lose a little bit more too.
I've been talking about Nova staying cool under pressure, but perhaps a little bit of anxiety would do Truth some good right now. Way too far extended there. The jungle shop is not your shop. Cloud9 was nearby, responded, picked up a kill and a turret off the back. That is huge for them.
It's been 2 minutes since I said there was a 5k gold lead. Cloud9 have just said, no, I want our gold back. I'm going to steal it from you. 2,000 gold now separates these two teams. Kraken is now on the board as well. Cloud9, they are looking very good coming into this mid-game.
Yeah, and Cloud9 have a much better presence on the map right now to threaten Kraken and force the hand of Nova. That being said, walking into a choke point, dangerous.
Uh-oh, 2 big cooldowns used now. Fearsome Shade's going to get blocked. Cloud9 don't want to be in this choke point, especially against Truth, after burn away from Joseph.
I really like this reaction from Cloud9, seeing the little spell effect on Starboy, that Echo had been popped. They knew that with Crucible down, they were not going to be able to deal with that. They have a window coming up in about 30 seconds where Crucible will be available, but Echo will not for Starboy, so it's only 1 Fearsome Shade to deal with.
Yeah, they only have 1 Fearsome Shade, but that Kraken's going down very, very quickly. Gabe Vizzle isn't going to be able to find that knock-up on the Holy Nova. Kraken's going down. It is resetting now, however, Nova do not want it to reset.
That's bold, actually. I don't know if they should be trying to keep this fight
pretty
going.
big. War Treads comes in. They're going to aim for Truth. He gets knocked off. Joseph's going to find him as well. Truth can't do all too much. Sends out the Solar Storm, but he executes Joseph. From Hellsars comes through. Can he get the boomerang? He cannot, but he's still just chunking out Old School. Gabe Vizzle falls in the back line. Wow. That's going to be an ace. That's going to be a double kill for Starboy. Kraken for Nova. They're looking for more.
Nova, man, what a series of plays there. They kited perfectly against Cloud9. They built stacks ahead of the fight as best they could, and they were really able to play around Cloud9's composition, needing to be in quite close proximity to one another to keep the Adagio safe. 2 turrets got pushed before Kraken even hit the base. This is huge. Nova could win this push if they play it just right.
They had a whole bunch of minions, but the Kraken wasn't there. Cloud9 did manage to clear them out. See all those cauldrons getting set up. It's going to be a scary time for Cloud9 to deal with this Kraken. Full HP. They need to be able to do something now. Benediction in. Joseph popping the boost. Wants to find Truth.
No,
he
Truth
finds him. Gets knocked off. He blocks it. Solar Storm does nothing. They find the main damage dealer. Fearsome Shade sends them packing, but the Kraken is going to get dealt with first and foremost. Turret is going to fall, though, in the meantime.
Yeah, they might even get 2 here. This is not the quickest Kraken killing team. It's still over half health. We'll have to see. I think maybe just barely. Nova, man, firstly, where was this Nova in game 1 and 2? Because they wouldn't be in such a position, a precarious position as they are, had they played this well in the first 2 games. But secondly, Truth, his positioning is hot and cold. He needs to keep it consistent.
So all swings and roundabouts at the moment. Nova, they've come up, and they come down, up and down. Now they are 3,000 gold ahead. Cloud9, though, don't have a base.
It's true, but at the same time, up until that last fight, they were looking pretty darn good. The gold deficit is definitely in the favor of Nova, though, so raw power-wise, they have it in the tank. Cloud9 really needs to play a positional game here. They gotta punish Truth for making mistakes. Truth's reflex blocks, for me, have been one of the most scary things to watch in the whole tournament. You know, even in previous series, they don't always pan out for him. Sometimes he pops it a little too early. Sometimes he waits it out like we saw in game 1 or 2. Nova, they want to set something up. They're thinking about it.
Fusion pop by Delphi. Now's the time to go in. Truth been found again, but the core collapse is really good. Fearsome Shade is 3 minutes of Cloud9, but Old School is completely left alone to do 3 damage. Lone Delphi and Truth, their Solar Storm comes through. The team's not bare, but the heals are AJ. Game Fizzle heals them up nice and proper. Old School's still alive. Still beautiful double honing over. Lone Delphi's going to find Old School again. Game Fizzle can't just save him for long enough. Joseph's out the fight as well. Delphi, I'm not sure he can find the kill, but Truth will be able to find the captain. Game Fizzle falls. A messy fight only ends in a 1-for-1 trade.
It is an absolute miracle that Cloud9 did not lose more there. Old School was 1 versus 2 against 2 carries, whilst Joseph and Gabe Vizzle were like, okay, so we killed their captain, let's push. Like, that was a weird set of scenarios playing out there for Cloud9, but at the same time, they don't really get punished for it. Things kind of reset. We got a replay coming in. You can see the beginning of that fight was Delphi thinking about going in.
Oh, hang on a second. Replay cut in half. Truth's in trouble again. Doesn't matter. Solar Storm. There comes the From Hell's Heart. Suns up Old School. Again, another 1-for-1 trade. Gabe Vizzle looked like he fell. Well, he fell from earlier. Sorry, only just respawning.
Delphi, he wants Old School here.
He does. He's going to slurm up. Starboy's there as well. War Treads is popped. Ordain, he's trying to dance around it. There's the heal. It's huge, but Fearsome Shade's going to send him running. Cannot quite find the smite. Another heal comes through. Grace. Nice hero, by the way.
So cumulatively, there was like, 60 seconds of cooldowns burned there from Gabe Vizzle, but it was actually 3 20-second ones, so pretty nice. That's going to be a good save. It really does stop Nova from capitalizing on Old School being a bit out of position there. This game could go either way, Jaws. I'm not sure who holds an advantage at this point, just in terms of pure power. I think, honestly, maybe it's just even. They really need to focus on their positioning, making sure they have good vision, playing around their carries and keeping them alive. Truth, as I said, hot and cold is the best way of describing it. Some fights he dies before the fight even starts. Some fights he stays alive forever. You got to have that consistency here. Nova, they're finding themselves on the Unified Live Championship stage, but is it too little too late?
Cloud9 are only 1 game between them, going towards the finals later. Up against Immortals. I mean, either one of these teams coming up against Immortals right now, it's a scary foe to contend with. Right now, Nova, they are biting back though. Kraken is available. What do Cloud9 do? They need to find one of these engages, but Lone Delphi's been in charge of that more often than not. Ordained actually used onto Joseph. War Treads in, Benediction onto 3. War Treads fall from Nova to get out of that holy Nova.
We do have another Fearsome Shade available if Starboy wants to pop it. No Crucible for Gabe this time around. There's a window here for Nova, but they got to be careful. They got to position well.
Got to be careful. Ordained finds Joseph. That's going to be really good. Truth, they're in a lot of trouble. Gets repositioned. Massive Fearsome Shade. Old School's out of the fight. Holy Nova onto 3. Divine Intervention healing them up, though. Starboy in the back line. Another Divine Intervention. That's massive cooldowns pop. Joseph goes down, and still Truth on the front line, tanking all he must. Old School's going to get fallen. This might just be it. Game 4 is underway. Triple kill for Truth. 10 on the board. Ace as well.
This game has been the Crucible, not the item Crucible, but literally the Crucible for Nova. They needed to somehow survive in order to stay alive in the tournament, keep their hopes and dreams of being a team that has risen from seemingly out of nowhere to massive fame this time around. These players are monsters. We're going to be going to game 4.
Could this be the reverse sweep Nova are looking for? Cloud9 fall. Still match point to them, but Nova, they are fighting back and with a vengeance.
beautiful stuff. The composition as well didn't necessarily feel like something that was going to be able to upset Cloud9 there. And they had some comfort on their lineup, but at the same time, there was so much raw power in terms of meta picks from Cloud9. Celeste has been doing some serious work this tournament, though, really panning out most of the times it gets picked up. I want to see if Nova can keep this ball rolling, though, Jaws. They are a team that has very little live experience, but they're starting to gain it.
They're a team all about mechanics and momentum, the two M's. But we're going to jump on to the desk now. They're going to break that game down a little bit more.
Sports have made it on into the series. They've got a point on the board, and they are taking Cloud9 to another game. 2-1 is the scoreline now, but that was an absolute slog between these teams. Every single team fight going tooth and nail against each other.
Yeah, and the team fights lasting so long with the Holy Novas, or the Divine Interventions, the Fountains, both captains having the Echoes. These fights took forever, and that it's so difficult to play a team fight and execute your hero at an individual level for that long in that intense of a burst.
Yeah, I mean, Suijay, talk me through where we started in this game, because it wasn't always about divine interventions. You got to start in the early game.
Yeah, it was a beautiful play by Nova. They knew that Cloud9 would do the same rotation, that hit in the bush, and then they got a big lead at 640. They were up actually 1K at the 430 mark, and at the 640 mark, they're up 2.5K. They did such a good job killing Joseph and CCing him, but then Cloud9 also had a few good comebacks as well. It was pretty insane to see how the early game played out, and that was dictative of how the rest of the game played out, because Nova fought back, and they didn't leave any punches not punched.
I have to say, I was very impressed with Lone Delphi's crawl on this one. He obviously, unfortunate moment to mention that as he dies in this replay, but he was incredibly good at sticking to targets, but also knowing when to back off, playing that aggression well instead of kind of mindless aggression.
Yeah, as long as he was positioned properly, his Celeste play was impeccable. His Solar Storms were constantly going through and hitting multiple members of this team. Nova was fighting in some great positioning, comboing their abilities, using the Fearsome Shade to push targets into a wall so that those Solar Storms could come through and hit all of them.
And you know, as like I said, Baptiste is so good against Glaze, so I felt like Cloud9, they picked Blackfeather here, it could have been a different outcome. So it's very interesting that why they picked a Glaive, knowing that it's a Cruel and a Baptiste. Oh, Blackfeather's banned?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Mystery solved. There we go. But there was definitely a couple of fights where I don't remember at what point in the game that there was a moment where Lone Delphi dives into two Cloud9 members to try and defend that first turret. And on face value, it looks like he's charging into his death, but then the ultimate comes out from Truth across the map, and they somehow trade Joseph in with it, but it protects the turret. That kind of presence of mind is something that we've been wanting to see from Nova all through this series. And then later on into the game, we started to see these team fights really elongate, and we started to see the Celeste late game potential really come into its own.
Yeah, not only that, but the Baptiste pick. This is the pick that Nova popularized. They were the ones that started to make this thing really an impactful pick, and Starboy really showcased why in this game. Again, a lot of these Fearsome Shades being used to just keep targets away. It was never really being used to hit the entire team. It was always to try and split Cloud9 up, to try and say, okay, Joseph just dove into our team, here's a Fearsome Shade on Gabe and Old School, so now Joseph is just so far from the rest of his team, he can't get that healing to come through. Or it was to put them into a wall so that the Solar Storm would go through and hit the entire team. It was really exceptional use of those abilities.
Yeah, even with double Divine Intervention, in the end, it wasn't enough. And I felt like Cloud9, they overly focused on Truth, which was the right call if Truth is out of position, and they did that when Truth did misposition, and they got him with a lot of good afterburns. But they did win one key fight when they focused Starboy. Again, when you build Echo, you are very squishy. So they need to focus the front line, because Glaive cannot touch a Celeste with a Baptiste captain and a Cruel.
Can we just talk about these lane CP carries that just do obscene amounts of damage across the game? 52,000 damage almost. That is a crazy statistic. That's even higher than the one we saw from Dienzio earlier on today on his Scarf against TSM. These carries are just reaching levels in these games that are basically unseen before.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see the way that their body language, you interpret their body language for how the game is going. Before we got into this game, right after the draft finished, the camera panned over Nova, and their heads were down. They were very quiet. They were just kind of sitting there, just waiting for the game to start. within the first few minutes of the game, I was keeping an eye on them on stage, and after just 4 or 5 minutes, they're back to smiling, they're laughing, they're having fun again. And obviously doing well in a game is going to help with that, but for a team to be able to rebound mentally that quickly is so important.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things is it's not even necessarily that you're having fun, it's more that you're all on the same page and you don't turn on one another when your backs are against the wall. You've got to still be comrades, you've still got to be a team.
Yeah, and you know what I want to, with the mage meta coming out, guys, play some Koshka. Koshka would destroy this meta because that's what made Koshka so strong. She would snowball and never let any of these mages even get to the late game. So I'd love to see some Koshka show up today from Cloud9. Just pull out your trump card and then take it and snowball.
We have another Batiste coming in for
I know.
Nova. They're more than happy to first pick
this. This is exactly what they did last draft on B side. They banned the Black Feather, first picked themselves the Batiste. With the Grace being banned away, now Cloud9, you can see they're going to be trying to figure out what do they want to do to deal with this Batiste. We'll be taking the Catherine for themselves. Obviously, you don't want to let that duo go over, but picking up the Catherine, now they can maybe ban the Krull, because that was what Nova wanted in the previous game, was either the Catherine or the Krull to go with the Batiste.
Yeah, Krull would be a really smart ban, and if they ban Krull, Nova will either take the Glaive, or if they don't ban Glaive here, then Cloud9 will probably take the Glaive, or maybe even take Celeste away from Nova and not give Celeste over to Nova.
Well, the Krull has been taken off the board. Nova have to make some decisions here on what they want to remove. Adagio is going to be the answer on this one. And now with both captains locked in, we have to see what direction Cloud9 want to take this draft. How aggressive they want to be, because aggression has kind of been the name of the game for Cloud9 in this series.
Yeah, and I really want to see I Love Joseph on an aggressive jungler. The Koshka would be wonderful. I would love to see him on Koshka.
Koshka would be good, however, it's a Batiste captain, which actually counters the Koshka a little bit. So Koshka would not be smart here unless the Batiste was out of the equation. So I think here Glaive would probably make the most sense, because Glaive cap is a double stun, and then you can either pick Idris or Celeste. Nova will probably pick Idris and Celeste though, if they don't take one of them. Oh, Vox is picked up. Vox was actually banned against Cloud9 the past few matches, and Old School was not able to play it. So now it will be Idris potentially or Celeste here. Celeste would be risky because it is a Catherine into a Celeste, so they probably go with an Idris. Again, that's risky. Catherine counters Idris.
And again, almost 50% of Cloud9's games in the regular season, Old School was playing this Vox. So the comfort, the familiarity is absolutely there.
Yeah, definitely a very different style from what we've been seeing in this series so far. And across this tournament, to be honest, it's been mostly those CP laners like your Celeste and your Scarf. But the Vox has been seen in other games, and we'll see how Cloud9 are going to be able to pull this one out. Glaive going to be the lock-in for Nova here.
And we've seen this combo before, too. The Batiste with the Glaive, the Ordain goes down, Afterburn goes through to knock them out of the Ordain and land that massive stun along with the burst of damage that comes along with it. I would still expect to see the Idris just because that has been the comfort pick for Truth, but maybe they do decide to switch it up. They lost with it twice. Maybe they decide to put it back on the shelf.
Or maybe he'll Scarf.
Yeah, Scarf, the Celeste could come out again. There's a lot of options available to Truth right now.
Yeah, plenty of directions he can go. Honestly, the Celeste looked pretty incredible. Last game, would not be too surprised to see him go with that one once again. Certainly needs to be something CP. Adagio.
Oh, Samuel. So it's a lane Glaive and a Samuel here. Samuel Jungle.
Samuel Jungle will be, or potentially, going to be coming on through. We did see Samuel in the lane from SK Gaming, maybe taking a leaf out of their European Comrades book.
Yeah, what Cloud9 can do here is do Celeste jungle. That's what EA does against a Samuel jungle. They normally will play a Celeste jungle into that and basically counter the Samuel late game. Early and mid game, Samuel is a little stronger, but Celeste will take it away once she scales to her late game. And she is really good against the Batiste because of her range. So Glaive would have to overextend to get onto that Celeste, but then you have a Catherine stun and a Celeste core collapse to deal with. So let's see if they're going to pick the Celeste. Oh, Koshka comes out. This is actually pretty solid. However, it is a Catherine Batiste, so Joseph have to maneuver around that, but wow, I finally appreciate that the Koshka is coming back into the meta here.
Yeah, and this is Joseph's hero.
Yeah.
And if there is any hero in this game that embodies the play style that I Love Joseph likes to play, it is this Koshka. He is a monster with it.
Watch the Vox silence with the Koshka combo and the Catherine silence. That is deadly in a very meta back in the day, in the previous patch.
Yeah.
Cloud9 is going to execute that combo really well.
Well, we've been mentioning how Batiste is the counter to Koshka. A lot of weight on Starboy's shoulders here to perform in this matchup. It is currently 2-1 in favor of Cloud9. Nova Esports wanting to push this to a 5-game series. Let's see if they can, or if Cloud9 are going to tie a bow on things. Let's get into game.
Thank you very much, guys. Here we are again. Cloud9 on match point. Nova with a kind of a devastating win over Cloud9 last game. And can they do it again? That's the question, because Cloud9, guess what they've got? They've got themselves a Koshka.
And the Koshka's a really interesting pick. I mean, you heard a lot of breakdown there from Suijay that I absolutely agree with. This is a composition that we used to see a decent amount, double silence. That actually buys a lot of space for Koshka to jump in, and against a Batiste, that could be pretty critical. Ordained is very, very good against Koshka if timed correctly, so I've got to be watching our mechanics here on the side of Nova and Cloud9. It's an intensive game.
It's micro-intensive, macro-intensive, and I got to say, Nova's rotations really stepped up in that last game. Cloud9 were kind of, in game number 1 and 2, they weren't walking all over Nova, but their rotations was just so much more clean, and Nova have really now not let the nerves get to them, and just found their feet.
Yeah, I mean, look at how different this is, right? Nova are the team to actually go for the early game jungle invade this time around. Cloud9 did it 3 times in a row. They got burned by it in game number 3. So now Nova knows that they can maybe start to be a little bit more proactive. They're kind of pushing him around, and Truth actually stole that camp as well. Truth is doing a great job of applying pressure early here, not even going to the lane.
Yeah, Starboy and Lone Delphi are trying to deal with Gabe Vizzle and Old School right now. Who did the healing camp go over to? Went over to Delphi, okay. Cloud9's invade did not go as planned. Oh man, Gabe Vizzle getting chased out. Old School very low as well. This is very punishing for Cloud9 now.
They really have struggled to keep pace with what Nova did in the first minute or so here, but that being said, it did not translate into anything massive like a kill. If anything, it's mostly just given a modest advantage to Truth, and that advantage can actually be reset quite quickly depending on how this minion wave goes. If Old School is able to get most of it, he should be fine in that matchup. The level advantage is honestly maybe even bigger. Also nice by Joseph to actually pick that one up.
Yeah, Joseph gets ordained, however. Twirly dead on 3 people, but he is alone. Oh no, the stun isn't going to actually connect. Oh, he can't quite find it. Joseph, happy feet, doesn't end up walking away from that one. However, Nova still unrelenting in their pressure of the jungle.
Yeah, Lone Delphi burned a lot of energy to make that play, so now Nova is kind of forced into grouping up and taking this Elder Treant just to keep him in a position where he can actually continue jungling, I would assume. Oh, actually, they give it to Truth. That's kind of interesting. Lone Delphi is going to be helped by Truth in the jungle, though, it looks like, as they know they can't go into lane, because Old School's pushed too far back towards his turret.
Truth is there. Truth is taking a lot of damage after burn over the wall. Not quite finishing him off. Old School now pushing in this wave as well. Truth low HP. It's a lot of free damage down to that turret.
It's actually kind of scary to stay here. Joseph could consider diving. You can see he wants to. Ordain already pops.
Oh, Twirly death. Hang on a second. Turret doing a lot of damage, but Truth ends up going down. Gabe Vizzle secures first blood. Nova's still chasing, however. That turret is so close to finishing him off. Cloud9 once again. They secure first blood.
Truth should have been able to see that one coming a mile away, Jaws. Even before he walked closer, it was still honestly possible that with a speed boost, Joseph could have jumped on the back line behind the turret and still maybe even gotten away. So yeah, Cloud9 definitely punishing a bit of bravado there from Nova that maybe wasn't required. And when, again, I talked about this in a greater context earlier with teams who are styling on their opponents, feeling like they can get away with murder. Nova, this game, at the very least, had a really strong series of rotations early. I think Truth felt a little overconfident off the back of that. He'd really been doing a good job of shutting down Joseph early. I don't think he gave him the respect that you need to in that situation. Look at how crazy the laning situation is in this game, by the way. Both teams are going up to lane when it hits the turret or, is on their side of the map, and they're not even trying to contest it when it's on the other side of the map. There's way too much crowd control. There's way too much gank potential. It's almost turned into a game where you don't have laners. You just have people who occasionally stop by to pick up some creeps.
Oh, hang on a second. Ordain just come out, does actually end up stunning Gabe Vizzle. And Ordain's going to be pretty big coming into the later stages, and you can imagine when Joseph gets that level 6, Nova going to pay it even further back. However, Starboy, and they mentioned it on the desk, he's really going to have to step up in this game.
Oh, absolutely. Starboy, this is a hero that he really made his name on. There's a couple of highlight clips right when he started playing that Captain Batista. Oh, here we go.
Stun does that. Old School's here. Here comes Joseph. Pouncy Fun onto Truth. Truth going very low. Has to afterburn away. Inches from dying. Sub 20 HP. Ends up getting away.
Man, that was incredibly close. Truth does need to be very, very careful. This is kind of what I was talking about, right? Like, you should not... Oh, hang on.
Turret dive. Low Delphi's in trouble. Game Fizzle gets stunned. They trade 1-1. Starboy so low. Joseph has to exit. Old School trying to chase him. Truth. Can he find the afterburn boots? Afterburn into the wall. There you go. Truth falls. In a messy team fight. That's 3. I think it was a 3 for 2 at the end of all of that.
Very extended 3 for 2. Cloud9, I think, picked up, I believe you're right, I think it was 3 kills, but it was so long a period of time that they got them over. There wasn't, in fact, an ace. This is what we were mentioning earlier on, Jaws. It's not a game where there's really laners. You saw as soon as Nova actually pushed up past the middle where that dagger is on the map, they actually got punished immediately by Cloud9. Then Cloud9 overpushed. They overcommitted and got punished by Truth. Heads up play by Truth, though, to not stay in base too long to fully heal. He knew he could get away with it. Got to be careful now, though.
Truth has been caught out again. Oh, no. Yummy Candy Frenzy. There's the stun as well. Afterburn comes out. He tried to find someone, but it's not going to happen. That's why Early Death will finish him off. That Ordained isn't going to do too much as Cloud9 secure yet another kill.
Oh, man, that's a rough situation to be in. You got to remember, if you're a laner, you're not going to hit 6 as quickly as the junglers, and Koshka level 6, notorious for being one of the strongest.
Starboy oversteps, Oblivion comes out, it sleeps 1, it misblocks, but it doesn't matter. Joseph's still there for the kill. With Gabe Vizzle using that fountain, it keeps them all nice and healthy.
Delphi did some very good damage off the back of that. The health you're seeing right now are after Fountain, so he really, had his team been there to back him up, is in a position where he can actually do work for Nova. That being said, what Nova really needs to be careful about, and what they're doing right now to their detriment, is filing in one by one and kind of overextending without full support of their team. I'm sure these are North American players. You've played against Koshka, both in ladder, online, in tournaments, many, many times. You gotta know that the dives Koshka can pull out with a coordinated team are obscene. You cannot be that far away from your turret. You will just die if Koshka's nearby.
And with that aftershock as well. His tier 3 item in 6 minutes. Gabe is going for another engage. Jumping Candy Frenzy is going to get blocked. Truth is going to get out of there ASAP. Ordain's actually going to stun up Joseph. He gets repositioned. Starboy Delphi trying to finish off the kill. They finally cut him down. Truth finds the kill. Gabe is on Old School. Is so low. Shield comes out. Another fountain. What a stun from Gabe Vizzle to stop low Delphi finding that last basic attack. Ordain is going to find Old School. Solo Truth looking, hunting for the kill.
No
Can't
afterburn.
quite find it. No afterburn. Starboy takes the turret here. Delphi picks up the kill. Oh my goodness,
Joseph's
almost
here.
falls as well. Joseph, he hasn't got boots, can't quite find the Pouncy Fun. Oh, Cloud9.
Blimey. What a game we've got here, Jaws. Nova are looking like the mechanical gods that people know them to be in a lot of these fights, but Cloud9 are seriously taking the fights to Nova and finding lots of opportunities to try and just abuse the early spikes that they have. You mentioned the Aftershock earlier, but of course Vox also spikes incredibly early with items like Poison Shiv that are just very cost efficient before your opponents have a chance to itemize for much defense. He's also starting to get very close to a second item, whatever he decides to go for. Wouldn't surprise me if it was just a straight up Sorrow Blade, so you can try and take these members of Nova down as quickly as possible. Here comes a rotation out of Delphi, though. Maybe they'll defend here.
Last Tremor onto 2 people. Gabe Vizzle blowing out quite a big cooldown. That's 75 seconds. Doesn't have Echo yet. So that might be the green flag now for Nova to actually engage. They do have that Fearsome Shade in a couple of seconds. He's going to ding level 6, and we do have Oblivion as well.
Oblivion could be key here too, because if it's timed correctly, let's say you've already poked down the turret a lot, it can be what you need to just get the space to kill it and then go for a fight. But Nova haven't really had much opportunity to push turret yet, and they had a lot of money to spend, so very smartly going down to the jungle. You can see the items they picked up here: Crucible for Starboy, Sorrow Blade for Truth. These are things which should facilitate much better fights, especially the Sorrow Blade, worth talking about here. Joseph is not tanky. He jumps in and gets punished.
Oh, the wait for it. Just go a little bit wide. Old School quite low, but Joseph's on the sidelines. Does get Ordained once again, just trapping him in that pen. Oh my goodness, what a Fearsome Shade. There's the reposition. The sleep was big. The fountain comes out from Cloud9 to keep them alive. Truth out of the fight already, but it's not going to matter because Starboy gets sacrificed to the Cloud9 Titans, and they are moving forward now towards this tier 1 turret.
Yeah, Drifting Dark popped by Delphi right after that fight. Had he had it during, maybe things look a bit different.
Delphi is very far up, does use that reflex
Look at
bomb. The
Truth.
Cloud9 members are very low. Truth comes in, afterburn towards Joseph's already found 1 kill. Delphi is going to find the double. Truth comes up big. Toe goes down, but Nova finds 2 kills in return.
Truth or lies, Jaws. I think, honestly, Cloud9 believed it when they thought he retreated, but actually he was coming in from the flank. Beautiful stuff there. He can likely find a turret as well. Gabe doesn't have Merciless Pursuit for quite some time, so Truth can easily take it down. That is a huge, huge play for Nova, and he might want more with Gabe.
Merciless Pursuit, it's been blocked, but Reflex Bolt does come out in the afterburn, but he just gets punished. Goes in without the knowledge of lone Delphi and Starboy's whereabouts. Joseph's here as well. Ordain's going to get blocked. Old School on the sideline. They're in a 2v3. Yummy Cannon Frenzy's going to be big. Jump straight onto Truth, but he just gets cut down regardless. Old School now on the run. Bad Mojo's going to slow him up. Lone Delphi not finished with him just yet. Tree, and almost the MVP. Cloud9, they still managed to get away. Old School, the last member alive. Truth is, this guy's just starting to turn up right now.
You know, Nova, I want to give him all the credit in the world, but at the same time, Cloud9 making a few very uncharacteristic plays there. You saw Gabe Vizzle chasing blindly into a brush without support from his teammates against a glaive that frankly could have turned and killed him without any support. That was very, very risky. Joseph then commits to another face check of a brush, gets ordained, gets annihilated. Nova are really starting to snowball this game, partially because they're finding windows, but partially because Cloud9 is leaving a few open.
Or if you leave the window open, there will be a draft. The draft right now is going to end up on Truth. Half the H-bar disappears in that small engagement, but look at the items now coming through for both sides. Broken Myth finished for lone Delphi. Joseph looking to get in on the action. However, Echo now finished for Gabe Vizzle. Big pickup for him. He's at that 3-item spike on the captain. He's starting to look very scary. We've seen Null Wave being picked up a couple of times, but him just going straight for that Echo with that Crucible is going to be pretty key in the fights to come.
Yeah, and it's actually a good window here for Cloud9, having the Echo on your captain when both captains have high utility ultimates. When your opponent doesn't, can be big.
Merciless Pursuit onto Truth. Gabe Vizzle very low, gets repositioned straight into the Ordained. Yomi Candy Frenzy comes out, sleeps Truth, but that's a sleep straight onto Joseph. Does end up blocking him. The damage coming out from Old School is just too much. Fearsome Shape can't be quite enough of a guiding tool. Twirling Death Points 2. Cloud9 find the ace, and they're going to look for a turret.
That was some seriously good mechanics out of Old School, and Joseph managing to do so much damage whilst Nova tried to capitalize on Gabe Vizzle's apparent mispositioning. In reality, it didn't really end up that way. He was very far forward. He used basically none of his abilities, but the damage was there from Cloud9 to back him up. Let's have a look at the replay. You can see here on the front line, Gabe gets locked down and blown up very quickly here. Nova feel good at this point. They think they found an opportunity, but a silence and a jump in allow for no reflex block out of Truth, for the ultimate from the Yummy Cat and Frenzy from Joseph to lock him down. That lets Old School position around the top of the fight. He can't make that play if Truth isn't locked up, because then he gets punished by Delphi or by Truth. It's very, very different if you actually manage to connect this. Sweet J was talking about this composition, the strengths of it, and what how it used to be in the meta. This is the kind of thing you got to be careful of. The chain crowd control.
Oh, speaking of crowd control, it's a big blast. Tremor. Oh, Yummy Catnip Frenzy for the execute from Joseph. Now the silence comes through onto Truth. Wait for it was pretty big from Old School, but man, those silences right now from Gabe Vizzle are hurting Nova.
Starboy perhaps sad that Ordain is not preordained in that situation, not realizing just how much was waiting for him if he misstepped a little bit. Cloud9's chain crowd control is doing a lot of work right now. I would almost like to see Truth.
Boots used by Truth, by the way. There's a bouncy fun. He's doing a lot of damage, but here comes the Samuel. Lone Delphi coming through with the drifting dart. They find Old School. Joseph still wants in this fight. Oblivion's going to go a little bit wide. They find one. Gabe Vizzle very low as well. Ends up taking him out with the shield. Starboy's there for the backup. Mojo goes wide. They end up trading 2 for 1.
Wow, nice job by Nova, though, to capitalize on the fact that Cloud9 overextended a little bit. This isn't game one, Cloud9. You can't just walk in and take a sentry. There is going to be a response from Nova in certain situations, and that was one of them. Very, very nice stuff. Starboy, though, I think having the one Crucible on your team is good. I think you might need 2, though. There's enough crowd control. Delphi.
Lone Delphi caught out. Yummy Cannon Frenzy's going to find him. He does get stunned by Starboy, though. The Ordain's really good, but it's not going to be enough. Fearsome Shade sent out will get blocked again. Uh-oh, Starboy, no man's land. Level 8 versus level 12. The level advantage might just pay the price.
Ooh,
Another
good fear.
Fearsome Shade's good, but Ordain comes out, just manages to escape with his life. Oh, Joseph maybe looking for a little something. Truth, he's going to find him in that brush. The damage coming out from this Kosh is a little bit too much. Afterburn the wrong way. You meet yourself a Gabe Vizzle. Jumps straight back in. The slow comes out. Oh, no!
Reflex block does it!
The block finishes him. Oh, Old School, not quite in time to finish off Truth.
People talk about Truth being a rising star. When you 1v2 Joseph like that, there's certainly a case to be made. Nova now in hot pursuit of Cloud9 as they try and back away, and that's an Ordain.
Ordain does find the stun onto Gabe Vizzle. The Mad Mojo's there as well. He goes straight on the back line. They want Old School's number. There's the Oblivion. It's going to sleep Gabe Vizzle in the front line. Drifting Dark comes through. Lone Delphi can't quite finish the kill. The Sentry, the Crystal Sentry following them up as well. Gabe Vizzle a little bit of a risky recall. It's going to get flared out, but Nova just cannot seem to finish these fights, although I don't know about that. Truth. 1v3 goes in. Old School executes it.
You just made the play that got made against you. You know, Truth got baited in by a reflex block there. Frankly, Joseph was nearby anyway. Kraken just spawned. That's not the right time to go for something so bold when you don't have backup from your team that's fully there. Can Delphi and Starboy defend this Kraken?
Yummy Cannon Frenzy on Starboy does end up blocking it. Lone Delphi, they want to kill him first. Old School's moving forward. That's a big Crucible. They're going to kill him. Starboy's going to go down as well. An ace for Cloud9 is Truth at 1 second on his death timer. Sentry goes down and Kraken next on the menu for Cloud9.
God, this is kind of heart-wrenching to watch, Jaws. I wouldn't say I'm a favorite of either of the teams, but you got to see Nova constantly just being so close and then kind of misplaying and kind of throwing away the lead that they managed to scrape back. It's so back and forth. And you know that after every one of these misplays and plays, you know, they got to be getting emotional, whether it be for better or for worse. Kraken's been picked up by Cloud9 right now. They do have to do some work cleaning up their side of the map before this push will come through. But let's have a look at the replay from when Nova tried to defend this Kraken. It honestly started off pretty well, but there's so much pressure from the side of C9 with things like the War Treads, things like Old School's own boots that allow him to really stick onto Lone Delphi. Lone Delphi is not able to kite effectively enough with just the Frostburn, it seems, at this stage in the game. Here comes Kraken to the base of Nova, though. Can they defend, Joss?
They want to crack the base. They're going to jump straight onto Truth again. Atlas Pulsars have been popped by Cloud9. Truth taking a lot of damage. Blast Dragon comes in. Another silence. Triple silence spells the truth for Truth. Spells the death for Truth, not Truth for Truth. Close enough. Kraken still marching on the base. Nova need to defend. They're in a 2v1 situation. Starboy sending out that Ordain. Isn't going to find anything. It might just be the Oblivion goes a little bit wide. Kraken still marching on the base. Turret falls. Crystal going down. Cloud9. They want to face the Mortals in the finals, and they'll do just that.
Cloud9! They are one series away, Jaws, from being our first ever unified live champions 2 times in a row. These guys are absolute monsters of Vainglory. We've got to give a lot of credit to Nova, though. Man, did they show up out of nowhere. First live championship, making it to the semifinals, taking a game off of the incumbent. Man, I can't wait to see what Nova brings in the future, but I also can't wait to see this incredible finals matchup we have coming up.
Immortals, the brand new Titans. This is going to be I think the battle to go down in history, to be honest. Cloud9, 3-1 over Nova. I think Nova can come away with this quite happy, though. First unified championships they come to, where they go to semi-finals and take a game off Cloud9. But to break that series down even further, we've got Munchables and the guys on the desk.
It's a 3-1 in the end to Cloud9, a well-deserved 3-1. It could have easily gone both ways, though. Nova put up a tremendous fight in this series. They're going to go home at the end of this one, but they can definitely be proud of the performance they brought to stage here.
I gotta say, man, when teams follow my suggestions in draft, they tend to do a little better. I'm glad that Koshka came out.
Always humble, sweet generous, ladies and gentlemen.
But we have to commend Cloud9 on this tremendous success here. When they are winning, they look just indomitable.
Yeah, and I mean, you could see on their faces at the end of this series, Cloud9, they weren't like jumping for joy. They weren't super excited. They looked relieved. Like, the level of fight that Nova put up against them was absolutely immense. I don't think anyone would have been expecting Nova to fight that hard, especially after the first 2 games of this series. But unfortunately for them, it was just, some mistakes, a little bit of over-aggression. This was not a clean game by either team, but it was just Cloud9 able to capitalize on the mistakes that occurred a little bit better.
Yeah, these dives on their turret were just insane. And you see like TSM and Mortals did the same thing. And this is what makes such a team like Cloud9 so dangerous, because even though you think you're under your turret, you're not safe with how well they coordinate their dives and their stuns. And this is an example here. Truth kind of overextending. It happened a few times with some of the members. This is something I think Nova should work on the most, is they tend to get overextended, and Cloud9 will just take advantage of that mispositioning.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's one of the things that we always praise the top teams for, is capitalizing on their opponent's mistakes. And when we get to these top echelons, you cannot afford to make mistakes. You cannot afford to be the team that is getting caught out. And across the course of this game, this was by no means one-sided. And you can see here on the screen, Nova managing to take advantages in the early game, but Old School not letting them go down without punishment.
Yeah, and that's why, you saw Nova's faces after this game. Like, this one's going to sting. Even though they performed far better than anyone expected, they know that they had a lead in this game. They felt comfortable in this game, but just let it slip through their fingers. That's why this one will hurt for now, but this is a team that should walk out here with their heads held high, and looking forward to the future for them, like AJ mentioned. But Cloud9, just what a performance.
I just want to say this matchup really, Gabe and Starboy, is what it came down to. Whoever got the silences off first, or their Fearsome Shade. If you look at it, Starboy wasn't able to initiate or utilize the Echo Fearsome Shade because Cloud9 was just more decisive, more proactive, and Gabe was a huge part of that with his silences. There was one fight where he actually stunned Starboy out of his Fearsome Shade, so Starboy couldn't use Fountain, and he couldn't echo that Fearsome Shade. Got them the ace, and then they took Kraken, and that led to ending the game. So that was a crazy play by Gabe there on his Catherine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Gabe was phenomenal this entire series. That's exactly what you expect from a player like this. And from all 3 players of Cloud9, like, let's bear in mind the team that we're talking about here. This is an incredibly storied team. This is the current reigning champion here in the West, and they're going to be moving on to the final to prove that they still have what it takes. There was a couple of question marks around them after the regular season. TSM had been giving them an incredibly hard time throughout the regular season. They seem to have overcome that hurdle, and now moving into the final, they're going to be going up against Immortals. How are you feeling about that matchup, guys? I want to get like a surface level view on what the emotions are going into this one.
I mean, Cloud9 has got to be feeling fairly confident going into this one. They were able to take down Immortals multiple times in the regular season. Their record against them is 4-1, so they know that they can beat this squad, although can they beat this squad the way that they're playing this weekend?
Yeah, their live buff is insane, and D'Anzio knows that his job when he meets Old School in finals is to deny Old School that championship, because he's done it a few times against Old School. So let's see if that's going to happen again. But Immortals has been looking so strong. They're so on point. And Cloud9 actually had a lot of mistakes. Like, there was fights that they engaged against Nova, and Fountain wasn't up. So Joseph would die, and they would lose the fight. Then the Fountain will go off on a 3-second cooldown. So they're making a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes, I would say. And if they play like that against Immortals, they're going to have a really tough time.
Yeah, and now, after a tremendous victory for Cloud9, taking this series 3-1, qualifying themselves for our grand finals, we have an interview standing by alongside Dan Gaskin. We have the manager of Cloud9, who could not be happier for his team.
It's not the manager, it's Gabe. He's here with me. No, he's not. It's just, this is actually the best thing I've ever seen, by the way. I've got Ian, the manager of the team, because the players obviously want to prepare for the final. I'm sorry for how I treated Gabe there. I know he's your boyfriend. It's all right. I'll make it up to you later. It's fine. So, going into the final, then, of course, you must be so proud of the team. I mean, they were in the same position, London, and now we move here to Los Angeles. How has the team grown? I mean, there must have been some changes coming from London to here.
Honestly, when I first assembled this team, I knew that it would be magical. And when they first got together, we had superstars. But now I really feel like we're getting into the era of being a super team. So it's great to see the way that Joseph and Old School are really maturing under Gabe's tutelage.
Definitely a super team. I mean, potential 2-time champions of the Unified Western Live Championship. Did you expect, though, to be facing off against Immortals in the final rather than TSM?
Honestly, we had been scrimming both of them, and their skills and their mechanics and their team synergy and their drafting, it's all high. It's so strong. So it was either or, and we had to do a lot of preparation to be ready for them.
And of course, they're going to be preparing now for the grand final. Do you think they can go on to take this whole competition? Because Immortals is... Someone answered it for him. No, you don't even have to answer that question. Someone said yes in the crowd. Are they going to be 2-time champions?
We have put in the preparation. We just have to execute.
So the MVP was Gabe Vizel. Once again, he's just been playing absolutely phenomenally. Do you think that having a player like that in the squad is just a massive enhancement to the team?
It's amazing some of the plays that he brings. You just can't even think of it. And the way he thinks about the game, it's just on a different level. It's crazy to have him.
So preparation for the World Championships, of course, you've already qualified from London. I know right now your mind's going to be focused on the final, but after this, how do you approach something like the World Championships? Of course, you've got the season next season, but you're already there. What's the team feeling like going into it?
We are obviously happy with it, that we don't really, there's not this pressure at this championship that we have to worry about things, and we have definitely spoken with the players, the support staff. Everybody is going to be gearing up and giving it their all in the fall. So, again, we'll do the preparation, just need to execute.
I think I've heard the word preparation like 4 times, and of course the players are preparing now. But speaking of preparation, speaking of beautiful people, let's head back over to the desk and find out what they've got to say about that series.
Yeah, final thoughts on that series, because that was, honestly, it was an incredible series. I'm still a little bit heartbroken for Nova after their story of how they got here, how they've been on this kind of roller coaster ride. But Cloud9 definitely proving that they were the better team and proving that they deserve to be in the second final in a row for them. Now,